Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hanagriff along with Jacob Hester, Josh Ward in the audio chair, and Paul O'Neill in the video chair. If you're watching with us along on CST or YouTube, welcome on. And if you're listening up in Shreveport, 1130, welcome as well. LSU has a new offensive coordinator, and they have a new passing game coordinator. Tigers came to terms and officially announced Jake Peetz, the Carolina Panthers quarterbacks coach, as their next offensive coordinator. DJ Mangus, who was an offensive assistant here previously under Joe Brady, is now the passing game coordinator. And so this was very much an expected hire if the interview went well. Yeah. The interview went well. These came off of extensive recommendations from Joe Brady, and they're attempting to bring back some of the I don't say bring back.
Don't say bring back the magic. We don't say that around here.
No, I didn't say bring back the magic. It is to reemphasize the things that Brady brought to the table in 2019.
And DJ's a guy that I talked about probably 10 days ago. That first day I was hosting when you were out. I did a full segment on DJ Mangus, and at that time we didn't know that he was going to interview, but it made too much sense for me. Yep. He's been a coordinator at the college level. He was one of the youngest offensive coordinators in college football when he took over at William & Mary. He is Joe Brady's right-hand man. I mean, they are tied together. I mean, he knows this offense inside and out. He was here in 19, with Joe Brady. And then Joe Brady, when he became a coordinator, he said, no, my guy's got to come with me. So that tells you what he thinks of DJ Mangus. And so when they reached out to Joe Brady, it was a no-brainer. I mean, DJ Mangus is a guy that is an up-and-coming coach. We know more about him because he was at LSU during that 2019 season. This one makes a lot of sense. And obviously Jake Peetz has 10 years of coaching experience in the NFL. He's been an offensive assistant at Alabama and other places. He played defense at Nebraska, so he's been in big-time programs as well. We don't know as much about him, but he's definitely got a resume.
And he spent some time in the league. He's
10 years, yeah.
You brought up this yesterday. He went back for seconds with Saban.
Yep.
There's something to that.
And both sides have to want that for you to go back for seconds.
Right. And there's a lot of guys that'll do a term with Nick in the interest of getting it on the resume, getting yourself advanced, or in some cases rehabilitated. A lot of guys don't go back. It's sort of like, repeating a grade in school. You do it so you can advance. You don't want to go back and do it again unless you were real comfortable with it and you felt like it did you some good. So that's a positive. They obviously feel pretty comfortable about this. They had plenty of time to vet these candidates. They had any number of ways they could have gone with this. Budget's not really a problem.
Right.
Okay. So you picked the guys you wanted. They took their time. We think that they did their due diligence. They did their interviews. They hired the guys they wanted. So let's see.
And they have been in the market for offensive coordinator, but it's no secret that Coach Ensminger was, looking to retire at some point. I think he almost had to be talked into coming back, maybe even last year, right? So he was coming towards the end of his career. So you start to, look a little bit just on the outside looking in for a couple of candidates. So they've probably been looking at this for, multiple weeks, maybe even months now.
The basis of what you want is in. I'm not expecting an overhaul of what they did. Offensively, they did a lot of good things last year. Yep. It wasn't perfect. I've said a number of times on this show, and I believe this, that Joe Brady, had he come back in 2020, was not going to be able to replicate 2019, even if Chase had come back, even if Marshall had played all the way to the end. I mean, 3 different quarterbacks That's a challenge for anybody, man. That would have been a challenge for Steve Spurrier himself, although some years he used multiple quarterbacks
Hanny, sometimes
on purpose.
If you got two quarterbacks, you really don't have one, do you?
Trying to navigate through a starter that got injured, that had his status in question for a while, and then having to choose between two freshmen and re-choose, that would have been challenging for anybody. And I know that the Scott Linehan piece didn't work, but I would say to you that even if they wouldn't have had the opt-outs and Chase had come back for the whole season and they'd had to rotate three quarterbacks and go through with that, even Brady would have had a hard time going back. Joe Burrow was really, really good, in case nobody noticed. Trying to replace
if you like that kind of thing,
Joe Burrow with a first-time starter and then two freshmen as first-time starters would have been a challenge for anybody. So you're not going to overhaul, I don't think, schematically what you're doing offensively because you had a lot of those pieces in place last year. What I am anxious to see is the personal touches that you put on it. One of the things that Brady did that was just really exceptional was the different route combinations that they put together that always seemed to have receivers in the right position. I mean, how many times did you see guys that were running just, wow, look, that guy's open. And then Burrow took that to the next extreme to where he threw guys open and defensive back turned his back, God bless, because you're going in that direction. So the third down things, the red zone things, I would say that you also have a young receiving core coming back, and if you did nothing more than get yourself back to a situation where you were dropping a lot less balls. 2019, they didn't drop many balls. In 2020, they dropped a lot. 2018, they dropped a lot.
They did.
If these guys don't do anything other than come in here and get the drop rate back to somewhere close to 19, just the drop rate. I'm not talking about anything specifically, schematically, really exotic. I'm just talking about catching football.
One of the things that they did really well, to your point, they weren't afraid to attack all areas of the field.
Yeah.
For so many years, it's like they had police tape in between the hashes at LSU. Like you could not throw the football in between the hashes. It was only going to go to the hash and the outside.
I'm of the opinion that was a less thing, but that's just my opinion.
Well, there was
continued after him, but old habits.
So they came in and they're like, you know what? We can run slant routes. We can run drags. We can run dig routes. We can run stuff in the middle of the field and challenge defenses. And that's what they did. They did it every single play. And their route concepts, they always looked clean and crisp, right? They benefited each other, right? What LSU's defense struggled with this year? Two-man route combinations. Absolutely struggled with it. Well, LSU made other teams do that in 2019, right? They'd put those two-man out there. They had everything up in their playbook. Joe would get them to the right play, and they would go out there and they would flourish. And so that's some of the things that I'm excited about. Run game-wise, I think people forget that LSU ran the football extremely well in 2019, right? I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a first-round pick for a reason. Yeah, he could catch the football. He was good in pass pro, but you're talking about a guy that ran for over 1,200 yards. I mean, they did a really nice job of creating runs that we all know, power, ISO, inside and outside zone, but from different ways. Like Clyde would start lined up out wide. They would shift Thaddeus Moss into kind of a wing position. Then they'd bring Clyde Edwards-Helaire back into the backfield, and they'd run ISO. That's an I formation run play back in the old days, but that's the way that they would get to that play. Thaddeus Moss would read the defense. He'd read the three technique. He'd get up on the Mike linebacker. Clyde would read his block, and off we go. And you're hitting your head on the goalpost. That's being creative in the run game. That's a lot of things I saw in 2019 that I really enjoyed when Joe Brady was here and helping out Steve.
So the one question I would have regarding these two appointments, Peetz and Mangus, is where does this leave Russ Callaway? Because it's been reported, I think it was Dellinger headed first. I could be wrong, but I think it was Dellinger headed first, that he has been is going to be an on-field coach. He's been an analyst, going to be an on-field coach. We thought at the beginning of all this that passing game coordinator might make some sense for him. Now that position is filled. So where does that leave him? I don't know. We'll ask Ed that question the next time he
Well, okay. Well, you can have Mickey Joseph coach your receivers. DJ or Jake can help at that position. One of them's going to go to quarterbacks. One of them's going to go to receiver probably.
I would think that Peetz is going to coach the quarterbacks. That's what he's always done.
Yeah, and DJ played the position, so you got your choice there. Okay, whatever. And when you look at the tight end position, I keep going back to it because that's somewhere you can place someone, because we all assume that you're going to have a D-line coach, you're going to have a linebackers coach who is the defensive coordinator, you're going to have Corey Raymond coach all the defensive backs, so you get a spot back. You get that Bill Bush spot back that if you want to put it on the offense at tight end, you can place it there. And so, and there's teams across the country that have an inside receivers coach and an outside receivers coach, whatever, however you want to do that, however you want to get him on the field, you have the flexibility because you have that extra spot from defense. Now the defense might want to keep that spot.
Yeah, you're talking about a 6-3 split, offensive and defensive coaches if you do that. And then the special teams coach would be the 10th.
You had some GAs. Christian Lockjaw was a GA. He was a guy that did a really nice job. So Coach O trusts a guy like that. So you can get creative with your staff. If we've already heard that he's going to have a position, I'm just trying to make it fit in place here. But you do have the ability to have an extra staff member if you do, in fact, go to only one defensive backs coach. Which the split might not be like that, but you have the potential to do something like that.
We'll see what they decide to do. On the show today, LSU basketball tonight against Georgia. John Brady. Coach John Brady will be with us in the next segment. Dr. Etheridge will be with us later on this hour. Pels back in action tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oleh Kosel will be with us in the second hour. And we are efforting things as we go along here. Is this news breaking here just in the last 20, 30 minutes or so, that Jake Peetz and DJ Mangus, as expected, have been officially hired at LSU as offensive coordinator and passing game coordinator. We're brought to you by Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. There's a newest member of the Heisman fraternity, and the Saints are back on the practice field getting ready for the Wildcard game against the Bears. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Tonight at 6 o'clock, LSU and Georgia from the Maravich Center. You hear the game on Eagle 98.1. Well, we could get back to the football stuff here in just a bit, but joining us now is Coach John Brady. Will be on the call tonight. Coach, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How are y'all doing?
Doing fantastic. What's it been like before we get into the game stuff, trying to keep up and follow a team and call games sometimes remotely, and because I know you're a coach. You like to go to shoot around. You like to be around the team. You like to kind of get your hands dirty a little bit, and a lot of that stuff just not possible right now. So what's that been like?
Well, it's been a little bit different. It's been a lot different actually, because you're right about that. I used to love to go to game day workouts and listen to the coaches give a scout report live and see what they're saying and that sort of thing. And I don't have the benefit of that this year, so kind of got to go on what I've sensed by looking at notes and then watching the teams play on TV and going through game notes and seeing what LSU needs to do. But I miss that part of it with the pandemic and no travel, and the remote's a little bit different too to call the game. And Chris and I did our first one the other day, and we, for the home games, we'll be. The game Saturday at Missouri, we'll be up doing it remote out of the administration offices there. But it's different, but, it's something we've got to do, and there's no use complaining about it. You just got to deal with it, do the best you can, and hopefully the people that listen will still enjoy the broadcast.
So, Coach, through the first two SEC games, a very impressive win against Texas A&M, a disappointing loss against Florida. What has stood out to you through the opening two games of conference play?
Well, we scored 79 on the road, and we got 80-plus here against A&M, so I think the points are fine. I think against A&M, what I saw, I thought it was our best 40 minutes of basketball, particularly in the second half. We were able to, defend for extended periods of time, keep them from scoring, limit them to one shot, and defend well without fouling. And then at Florida, we gave up 86 or 80, 83, I think it was. I don't think we got the stops we needed to down the stretch. I know Will talked about the end of the first half, which I agree with. We were up 4 or 5 and didn't close it as we should have and allowed them to tie the score. And then I think Florida came out the second half and really exposed us a little bit in terms of being determined to throw the ball inside to a guy that's 6'10" or so. And it gave us some difficulty in terms of stopping them. But even with that, I think we still had a chance the last 5 minutes, and we couldn't get consecutive stops 2 or 3 stops in a row because we still scored. I think 79 points was enough. I just think down the stretch we didn't stop them enough as we should have, and which allowed Florida to win a close game at home, which you need to do in the SEC, obviously, to have a chance to make a difference.
Coach, obviously you just mentioned that there Florida was able to go inside, use their height advantage against LSU. LSU's without a couple of bigs right now. They weren't able to stop that. Now, I know not every team has the ability to have the size advantage like that, but what can LSU do to try to help out if a team does try to go inside and use their size against LSU?
Well, I think, you got to know who you are and what you are, and then there's other ways to guard the post. I mean, if they've got a dominating post man and they throw it in there, we're going to have to double team him either post to post, or we double team him with a perimeter. And once they kick the ball out, rotate to the appropriate receiver. Postmen, if you look at their stats, by nature, they turn it over more than they have assists. So as a scoring postman, if you double team him and make him a passer as opposed to a shooter, I think your chances of him not scoring are good, and your chances of him kicking it out, you have a chance to get him to turn it over. So I've always thought dominant postmen were susceptible to double teams because they're used to shooting, not passing, and you make him a passer and not a scorer, and you have a chance. And it's just a rotation issue after he kicks it out. But against dominant postmen like that, you've got to do something. You can't let him catch and play you one-on-one because eventually, I've always thought a better offensive player can beat a good defender most of the time in terms of either scoring the basket or getting fouled.
Coach John Brady is our guest. Coach, Will Wade has talked about 2 personnel potential changes or adjustments, if you will, that should help LSU defensively. One of them with some limited minutes for Josh Gray, the freshman big. The other one involving Eric Gaines, who he was talking about on his show earlier this week as having the best defensive leverage on the team. Give me your thoughts on what those 2 guys bring to the table.
Well, I like Gaines. I liked him when I got up earlier this year and watched him practice. I think, physically he needs to get stronger to play 30 or 35 minutes in an SEC game. But in terms of savvy and understanding the game and how to pass, he needs to know when to penetrate maybe and what a good shot is and a bad shot is based on his game. But I think he's got all the intangibles to be a really good guard. The postman from New York West, I thought I would like to have seen him against some of the lesser competition we play, to see what he can really do and get some anxiety out of him in terms of playing minutes as opposed to possibly throwing him in there tonight against a Georgia team that has one big and the rest of the guys are kind of like ours, except I think we have a few better players. But I would have liked to see him play a little bit more earlier against the lesser competition. But, Will thinks he can help us, and I'm interested to see how he does if he chooses to put him in the game tonight.
Coach, who's the most important player on this team? I asked that yesterday, and I came up with Darius Days for me. It just seems like when LSU's going right, Days is going right. Do you have a different player in mind?
Well, that's a very good question and probably a more difficult answer, but I do like your answer. I think when Darius Days doesn't get in foul trouble where he fouls carelessly or needlessly and he has to come out of the game, it affects his consistency in scoring the ball. He's 1 for 5 at Florida. The game before that against A&M, he probably had one of his better games because he was able to play minutes. I think his biggest issue is don't foul carelessly or needlessly, stay in the game, take good shots, and he can be a more consistent offensive player if he doesn't foul. But I think Javonte Smart still is a major issue in terms of how LSU plays, particularly on the offensive end. If he gets into the flow, if he's making other players better around him, if he's hitting open shots, if he makes good decisions in terms of taking the ball to the goal and involving others, I do think when he's playing well, it can maybe overcome Darius Days' sometimes inconsistency because of foul trouble. But, Smart, Watford, Days, and Cam Thomas, those 4 guys I think are really the important parts of this team. And you complement those guys with the play of Wilkerson, LeBlanc, or Manning, and even Eric Gaines. I think those are the next 4 and then we'll see what happens. But that's a good question for this team. I think different players at different times, because of the talent level and the versatility, you're going to have different guys play well at different times in terms of scoring the ball. But that's a good question and a debatable answer. I think if you ask 10 people, you'd probably get 6 or 7 different answers on that particular question.
Coach John Brady with us. Coach, tonight the Georgia Bulldogs come in like many college basketball teams, including LSU. They've had to juggle their schedule to deal with the with the COVID problems that they've had. So it hasn't been the most challenging schedule. There was a game against Cincinnati, and there they lost their opener by 10 points to Mississippi State. They seem to spread the ball around pretty good. They got 6 guys in double figures with no ball-dominant player the way Anthony Edwards was a year ago. What do you expect from the Bulldogs tonight?
Well, I'm interested to see how good 6 players in double figures actually are. I haven't seen them up close and personal, so it's hard to really make a comment on them. But they both score 80 points. Georgia's averaging 80 against their competition. LSU's averaging 86. The opponents are averaging about the same, around 67 or 68. LSU shoots a little bit better from the floor. Both the opponents shoot around 40%. I think the difference may be in the three-point line. LSU makes about 9 a game. They make about 6. I think that's a difference. Turnovers, Georgia has a tendency to turn it over. LSU takes better care of the ball. LSU gets to the free throw line more. I think the most positive for Georgia going into this game is their ability to rebound the ball against the teams they have played. They're a +10 in rebounding. They average a little over 14 offensive rebounds a game. So I think that's an issue, and I know Coach Wade will probably be concerned about that. He's concerned about our rebounding from time to time anyway. So I think the rebounding stat in terms of Georgia winning or losing this game may be something to follow.
All right, Coach, have a good call tonight on the broadcast. We'll be listening as LSU takes on Georgia pregame at 5:30 on Eagle. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Coach John Brady. LSU in Georgia tonight with a 6 o'clock tip from the PMAC. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Patient Plus with 5 locations in Baton Rouge, constantly trying to improve that patient experience. Everything from minor illnesses and injuries, a little rash, a little fever, some aches, some pains, all the way up to x-rays and EKGs, sports physicals, and testing for flu, strep, and, of course, for COVID as well.
You're exactly right there, Hanny. PatientPlusUC.com is the website. You can fill out your information right there. Schedule that appointment right there online. 6 locations across the Baton Rouge area: Bocage, South Downs, Mid-City, Delmont, Prairieville, and Broadmoor. They're going to make it convenient for you. I can tell you my personal story. I have been in the South Downs location. We were in there. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. Very transparent over at Patient Plus. That's PatientPlusUC.com. Get in and get better.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench, a rescheduled Booger McFarland talks NFL and how he feels about his precious Buccaneers. Plus, Executive Chef Michael Johnson answers all of your Munchies questions. We recap LSU, Georgia, and Pelicans Thunder. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you in part by Supreme Rice, supremerice.com. All rice is not created equal. Support our Louisiana farmers by buying Supreme Rice. Perfect complement to any of your meal plans. Of course, we had a terrific holiday that included the Supreme Rice dishes, a number of occasions. So when you're going to your local AG food stores, any of your Costco's, any of your Walmarts, make sure you pick up Supreme Rice, whether it the long grain, the brown rice, or the jasmine. They all come in up to the 5-pound bag. Support our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s down in Crowley, Louisiana. And, of course, it's all grown, milled, and processed right here in the state of Louisiana. And stretch your food dollar with Supreme Rice. For great recipes and more information, go to supremerice.com. If you missed it at the top of the show, within the last hour, LSU has made it official that Jake Peetz will be their new offensive coordinator. Late of the Carolina Panthers as their quarterbacks coach, and DJ Mangus, the passing game coordinator. Was it a deal where you wanted to bring in a tandem, or did it just work out that way? Because I'm asking because LSU's done this twice now with this OC passing game coordinator. They did well. This will be 3. Okay,
no, this will be 4. Jay Sullivan was passing game coordinator.
Yeah, he was. I guess I considered Sullivan the wide receivers. Yes, You're correct. 4. But let me bypass that one because I considered Sullivan more the wide receivers coach than the passing game coordinator. So you had Insminger and Brady, which worked out great. You had Insminger and Linehan, which mixed
in the SEC.
Mixed results. Not terrible. Not not as good as the year before. Again, the quarterback issue. So going into this, do you say, hey, listen, do I want to absolutely make sure that the two guys that got coming in, they got to work together? I know that they can work together.
Yeah.
Because this is not always possible. Sometimes you got to bring two guys in from different.
And that's difficult. It's difficult to bring two people together that haven't been in the same place. You don't know what the working relationship is going to be. Joe Brady and Steve Insminger hit it off. They were buds. I mean, it absolutely worked. Like, that wasn't just because they were both good at their job. They had a really good relationship. I don't know that Scott Linehan and Ensminger had that same relationship. So that part of it is very important because you've got two voices when there becomes a play call. You've got two people that are going to give you their opinion as you continue to sink in your chair.
Have you noticed that I'm getting shorter?
Yeah, just throw it.
The whole thing just collapsed
Just
on
throw
me.
it around like Moscona does. Do you ever see it when it collapsed on him?
I've not seen it.
He like basically threw the chair against the wall and was not very happy, but you kept getting shorter and shorter. I didn't know what it was.
Cue this up for the blooper reel.
Yeah.
I mean, I started sinking. I tried to play it off. Didn't work.
Well, by the time your forehead was the only thing showing.
Where was I? Oh, yes, the football staff. We're going to have more on this. We did get a question out of the Bayou Ford chat about Dan Mullen and his – whenever a college coach gets his name put out there for multiple head coaching jobs, you know there's an agent working somewhere. But you don't normally expect an agent to be working for a guy. But the agent works when the coach puts him to work. If he says, look, I mean, I'm happy here. You don't need to go do that. Go work on a contract extension here. Don't go out and fish in the fresh water. You know something's up. And something is definitely up here. His name's coming up for too many jobs. And Mullen has not been an NFL guy. So what's going on here? And it's pretty easy to read the tea leaves. What has Dan Mullen done this year? Well, did they have a good year? They had what was shaping up to be an excellent year that fizzled at the end.
Then he had to play with his scout team in the bowl game. He let us know that.
Well, you're doing it in reverse order. I was going to go back to the part where you put him on probation. Okay. So the part where you put him on probation, the comments after the Texas A&M game about stacking the swamp, which didn't do him any public relations
and then
favors.
They got a COVID outbreak the next week.
Then they had the COVID outbreak. Then you had the brawl where he's out basically cheerleading, if you will.
Is WWE hype man.
Yeah. And then you get him put on probation. I mean, it's not a crippling probation, but it ain't nothing either. He's got his whole show. And then his comments after the bowl game, which are correct, but
you don't say that.
No, exactly. And his comments.
I was thinking about that today.
His comments were basically that college football is changing. That I have to go back and the same thing we were talking about yesterday. I have to re-recruit my roster every day. I'm not saying it's going to be better or worse, but it's going to be different. And you're talking about transfer rules. You're talking about re-recruiting players. You're talking about all the opt-outs and all of these things. What I heard was a guy that said pretty much every time I opened my mouth here in the last few months, something went sideways.
He's got a shoe in it.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah. And if I'm the athletic director, and the athletic director brought him in, they knew each other from Mississippi State. Mullen's not the easiest guy to get along with. Remember when Jim McElwain got that job? Mullen's star was pretty much on the rise. They had a lot of success at Mississippi State, much more than they had with the coaches prior to Mullen. And he had that background at Florida from the time back there with the Tebow teams, and they didn't even interview him.
Yeah.
Jeremy Foley didn't want anything to do with him. Foley, for all of his pretty good athletic director, okay?
Right.
He didn't want anything to do with him. Strickland brought him in. He's had some success. He's done some nice things, and now it seems like he wants out. And I don't exactly see Florida beating the drum to say, you know what, man, we'll do anything we can to keep you. It's more like, man, look, you want to go. Well,
it's like if you're trying to get more money out of us, this is not going to
this
be
is a
the
bad
way
time
to do it.
Be sure.
Yeah, exactly. It is a bad time to try to get a raise as well. I don't know how Dan Mullen as a professional coach works. I don't think he has the right mentality. I think he's a really good college football coach. Do not get me wrong. I don't think he has the pro mentality to be successful there. It is a little bit of a head scratcher that is starting to gain some steam. On the field, there's been a lot of good results. There's been some head scratchers as well, no doubt. But I was just thinking earlier today how I would feel if I played in that game and he called me scout team. I'm
pretty insulting, isn't it?
Yeah, because a lot of those players, majority of those players are coming back. The ones that aren't coming back opted out of the game. A majority of those players are coming back, and your head coach is out there calling you scout team. You're not part of the real team because he said the real team finished their season 11 days prior to that. So read the room, be a little bit smarter because you have to re-recruit these players, like it or not. You can't go out there and put that out. It's a weird situation right now, and one that seemed before the LSU game somewhat stable. I mean, okay, before the infractions came out, pretty stable, I would say.
The infractions are something that if they were isolated and didn't have anything else to go with them, something that he could weather. It's not a massive amount of scholarships. It's not one of those debilitating probations that you'll feel for years and years. It's one of those things that, hey, you did some dumb things. We're going to penalize you, but we'll get on down the road. Interesting times, because if Florida has to go hire a football coach in January, you just wonder where they would go. You put the same list of candidates back on the board.
If Billy Napier turns Florida down, by God, he wants to be a Raging Cajun.
That one would be a tough one to turn down. We'll take a break. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. and I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. There's a newest member of the Heisman fraternity, and the Saints are back on the practice field getting ready for the Wildcard game against the Bears. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Joining us now, Dr. Stephen Etheridge from over at LSU, and of course at Brock. How you doing, Doc?
Doing great.
Great. Holiday, good? Everything?
Yeah, very relaxing. Recharged a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like that. DJ Mangus, if you're joining us late, DJ Mangus, the new passing game coordinator at LSU, and Jake Peetz, the new offensive coordinator at LSU. Those moves made official within the hour out at LSU. You haven't met Peetz yet, but you do know Mangus from his time at LSU. What did you glean from having worked with him?
Yeah, I enjoyed him when he was here. I think he was a real good guy, a lot of high energy, the things you want to see. I know that there was a lot of voices that were hoping we could hang on to him last year, and it just didn't work out that way at the time.
You're sitting next to one of them, I think.
I'm aware, and I think he wasn't alone. He was a guy that was definitely mentioned last year, and I think. It's good to have him back here for sure.
Kind of give me from inside the working relationship between the offensive coordinator, the passing game coordinator, and the analysts who have taken on such an important role now, because these analysts seem to be the most popular breeding ground to move up to become coach. We saw George Munoz left for Baylor last year, Mangus going to Carolina. We hear Russ Callaway's name an awful lot. Kind of give me your thoughts on that relationship.
It's been interesting because I feel like most of the analysts that you see coming in, at least in my experience, it's either guys that are up and coming or potentially up and coming that we hope are, and then maybe some guys that are either in between a job, maybe somebody, head coach just got fired, or a guy on the tail end of his career that just wants a place, maybe not quite ready to turn it in. But with these young guys, I think it's a good opportunity for them because you get to be around the program and hopefully around a good coaching staff. Here, I think that's the case. And then on top of that, we get to see a little bit about him. Is this guy really what he's cracked up to be? We heard from so-and-so that he was, somebody that knew what he was doing. But sometimes you get him in the building and maybe you're not as impressed, or they just don't fit. It may not be their football knowledge, but they just don't fit with the staff. So it's almost like an internship, if you're applying for a job. And then they also are very valuable because, it allows you to focus on coaching if you're a coach, and they can help a lot with the game prep, looking at what's coming ahead. The nice thing is, in a playoff scenario, you're able to break down both the potential teams. So it helps you expand what you're doing, but also from the ability of who you're bringing in. I think it's a way that it is kind of like I said, I think the way I look at it is that, if you bring an intern in, maybe I'll bring somebody here that interns like, hey, he's really good. Let's see if we can get him to stick around, or not what we were hoping for. So good luck.
All right, Doc, I want to ask you about players as they, go into their offseason. In the NFL, we used to have that last day into the season. Everyone would kind of have to come in. They'd have to get the checkup. Hey, what's bothering you? Is that something we need to look at a little bit further? Do y'all have the same situation? Because I'm getting old. I don't remember if we did that at LSU. Do y'all have kind of exit meetings with every player, not just the injured players?
Mostly it's the injured players and the guys who might be leaving. So, because a lot of times you have the guys obviously graduating and moving on. Then you have the ones who are undecided. So we try and do an exit physical, or at least offer that to everybody. That way, if you're, graduating, going to the draft, whatever, you've got something that you want to talk to us about, we can address that with those guys. So we touch base with all of them. And then, of course, the injured. But, if you made it through the season, you felt good, we're here for you. But at the same time, if you don't want to come in, we're not going to force those guys because we're going to see them in a few weeks anyways, usually.
And then the decisions, are made to, hey, you really do. I think it benefits you if you, had a small surgery, if you had a minor surgery. whatever it might have been. I'm sure there's those discussions on the gray area of, do you want this player just to see if he can work it out himself, or do we need to go ahead, since we do have time, and make a move?
Yeah, that's a lot of this, into season, you'll see these. Not every injury is black and white. It's there are things, if you tear your ACL, we know we need to fix that. But maybe you have a labral injury in a shoulder. Sometimes you can rehab that, and even though it may not be perfectly healed, you may not have issues. I mean, I'm case in point. I tore both of mine playing ball, and I fixed one of them. The other one hurts me less to this day.
Right.
So I tell people that a lot. And when we look at those same scenarios, we go into the season saying, hey, or the off season, reevaluate. Sometimes we know we're going to have to do some more work. Other times it's let's see how you do and take advantage of this time and see where you're at after a couple of weeks of just rest.
Where it is, you got a shot.
That is true.
He's wearing
I got my sticker.
Yeah.
All right, so just for people that don't know your background, okay, in addition to working at LSU and working at Brock, you also, I think the last time we talked to him before Christmas, that you had been called out into the ER to work in Acadiana somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was in Ville Platte at that point.
And it was one of the nights where they were overwhelmed, so they called in for some help from Baton Rouge, and you got the call. So you have been on the front lines dealing with COVID, and you now have qualified, and you one of the frontline guys, you got a shot.
I did. So it's for those that don't know, it is a 2-shot deal. You get one, you go back in 3 weeks. This is my first one. I waited to let the first wave because I'm compared to some of my colleagues, a little younger, hopefully a little healthier. But yeah, I have been working a lot in the ER, and realistically, I think I've got some shifts coming up. Some of these small ERs, they're hit hard. My background allows me to do that. I've got a little more diverse background than some other guys, so I still do some of that. And I'll be actually, in fact, this weekend I'll be helping out over in Acadiana again, heading over to Eunice this weekend. But yeah, it's still tough out there. It's still hit pretty hard. I'm telling people, look, you still got to be careful. I'll still take precautions even though I got my first shot.
So if you watched the news yesterday, it was all about, hey, listen, trying to get everybody wants it more and faster, and it's not going as fast as anybody would like, but we understand that. Give me an idea about distribution from your point of view.
Yeah, so where we're looking at, one thing they're doing is it's state by state, and some people like that, some people don't. But I think it'd be such a large overhaul. It's hard enough for the states to manage it. I think that's the best way to do it. Most states, and here in Louisiana, we're not any different, or they're trying to hit the healthcare workers first. You got to realize, not only the ones dealing with it and we're susceptible, but if I get it, who knows how many at-risk people I could give it to. So it's about protecting not just us, but those that come into contact with us. And then on top of that, be the high risk is going to be next. And I think we're pretty close to seeing more availability there. They're going to have, if you have a doctor, especially if you're in that higher risk population, reach out to your doctors. Either they'll have them at their offices. A lot of the local pharmacies will be getting them soon. Your CVS and Walgreens, you can, most of them obviously don't have it yet, but you can get in a list. And it's going to mostly be by appointment early on. And I think that's the smart way, because otherwise you're going to have just craziness. You look in some states, you'll have people showing up in line the 24 hours beforehand. And we're not doing that at least yet. Who knows, though? There might be some organizations that opt to go that way. For mine, I was offered the opportunity. I got on the list. I had an appointment this morning. I got my appointment 3 weeks from today to do it again.
Your arm sore?
A little sore.
So where are we as a state, Louisiana-wise, as far as if you looked at a chart where our numbers are?
We're still pretty high. We're still, it depends. There's going to be certain other state they're going to vary. Most of the hospitals are pretty full right now, and that's what this is all about. I try and be even keel, but you got to realize, there's a lot of people have different opinions, but I will say the hospitals, there have been moments we've been overwhelmed, and if we get much more overwhelmed, it's not just about COVID. If you have a heart attack, we have no beds. What are we going to do? If you have something else happen, let alone if you have COVID, and just kind of, I tell people, look, be patient. I know this is really frustrating. There are days I get fed up with all the stuff we're doing. I hate wearing a mask just like everybody else. I know it's not that big of a deal, but it's frustrating, and I get that. But I think we see a light right now, and I just want people to kind of say, look, it's there, but let's not panic yet. I know some people that did are probably overreacted. Now they're dealing with it themselves, their family members, and I think we still got to be careful.
All right, one more before we let you go. What is it like putting this fourth quarter program together, and from the medical staff, the training staff, when you don't know when or if you're going to have spring?
I think we go ahead and move forward like we're going to, obviously, because you have to assume. I think just
is it on a calendar over there somewhere? I'm not asking you to give out state secrets, but is somewhere deep in Ed Ogeron's desk, is there a calendar that says, hey, this is when we want to have spring? I'm not telling anybody, but this is when we want to have it. And this is what we're planning for?
I bet there is a date. I have not seen said calendar.
Okay.
And in all honesty, so but I think, look, we're all moving forward. We had meetings today, just revamping our protocols. Everything is always, that hasn't changed. We're changing constantly with all these COVID and other protocols and making sure we have everything ready, everything in place. And what we're doing today, like I've said before, is going to be different tomorrow. But, there's a big meeting this morning, which just going over, this is what we're still doing. This is what we've changed. And it's mostly the same. Just some small tweaks. You're always trying to do better.
Team's coming back Monday?
Yes.
The whole team?
Yep.
And you've got, how many early entries do you know off the top of your head?
Just a handful.
Okay.
We got physicals for all the new athletes across all sports this weekend. And I think we're only looking at about 15, 20 new total athletes across all sports. And probably about half those are football.
So they got to come in and, hey, welcome to your new world.
That's it.
That orientation meeting, I bet, got some wide eyes, right?
Oh, yeah.
It always does. Especially obviously in
This
this year.
year.
But I remember sitting down being like, oh, boy, this is real.
Yeah.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
It's on.
Hey, Doc, great to have you with us, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the week. We'll take a break. Hour number 2 coming straight ahead. Oleh Kosel from the Bird Rights. Pelicans back in action tonight against the Thunder. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
The winner is the dog with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Toyotathon is happening right now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Get into a 20 Camry for $297 a month. Come on down to Happy Town for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger up in Shreveport. Watching along with us on CST or YouTube. We certainly appreciate it. Joining us now, our friend from thebirdrights.com, Oleh Kosel. Pelicans back in action tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oleh, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you doing?
You know, we're doing good. It's been a while since we've been able to catch up with you. I don't want to dwell on the last game because the collapse of the last 23 seconds, which has been done three times, and I think it's 8,400 games to lose a 6-point lead under 24 seconds to go. So I don't want to dwell on that as much as I want to talk about the entire 7 games that they've had so far this season, and it has been a good, bad, and ugly, grinding out wins against the Raptors and Spurs. They had a complete meltdown against Phoenix. But losing that game the way they did the other night was tough. But what have you observed overall, the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will?
Yeah, 2 things have really stood out to me. And I think the first, obviously, has to be the effect of Stan Van Gundy, right, on the sidelines instead of Alvin Gentry now. He came in here clearly wanting to improve on that end of the floor. And he's basically done it through 4 different, key areas. So cutting down on fouls. You just don't want to put opposing teams giving them free throws to win the game. Second thing is he wants to keep opponents out of the paint. And I think that's been the biggest strides for the Pelicans. They've really locked up the opponent, daring them to shoot threes, even though he said, we're not trying to dare them, but it's an order of priorities, right? So first things first, stop all shot attempts at the rim, keep them outside, and they've done a great job of that. And then, of course, the last couple is they want to reduce turnovers, and they want to limit second chance opportunities for opponents, so they want to grab all the boards. So I feel like 3 out of the 4, they've done, really well. They really are putting people less on the free throw line. They're grabbing all those defensive boards, and they're keeping people out of the paint. And I think, honestly, that's the reason why they're standing 4-3, despite the fact that they got blown out and they gave a game away. So that's great news, right? When your offense isn't working and that happens in the NBA, they at least have something to rely on. So it looks like there's an identity grown. Second thing you've learned is that, hey, Zion and Brandon are the captains, the leaders of the team. They're going to get you 20 points a night. Who's going to be that third guy? Well, so far it looks like the X factor has been Eric Bledsoe. When he scores in double figures, they've won 3 of the 4 games. When he hasn't, they've lost 2 of the 3, I believe. So it looks like he kind of is that Drew Holiday in that role to where if he provides and plays well, the team wins. If they don't, they're really hurting, especially with J.J. Redick now, right? Guys, he has not been able to hit the broadside of a barn since opening night.
That was really where I was going. It was J.J. Redick and just how he's played so far. Now, I know that he's been with Van Gundy before. They have a great relationship. He's even said, hey, there was one year I started out like this with Van Gundy, ended up shooting 40%. So with that being said, do you think Van Gundy sticks with J.J. Redick in the rotation even though he is really struggling?
I do. I think you've got to give him at least, 2, 3, 4 more games, even if he, makes 1 field goal or less, which is what he's done for 6 straight games. And that's really unheard of, right, for a shooter. That if he does it one more time, guys, that's going to go down in the record book in New Orleans with both Kenrich Williams and James Posey from 10 years ago.
That ain't the list you want to be on, man.
Exactly, right? And JJ's a shooter. Those other 2 guys were not. So I think he's got to turn it around because he has had these slumps before. And so that's why I think Stan even threw him out for 33 minutes last game, but unfortunately didn't get him going. I'll tell you what, they got to get him going for one reason. After these 2 cupcake games coming up tonight versus OKC and on Friday against Charlotte. They're going on the road for 7 games, and boy, it's going to be a tough trip through the Western Conference.
J.J. Redick, 6 for 11 from three-point range in the opener against Toronto. He is 3 of 26 from 3 since. I would have never figured.
For a guy of his capability,
yes,
it makes it even more.
Never figured
absurd.
that. Ollie, I loved Steven Adams when he was a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I loved the trade when he came over as a part of that big package for Drew Holiday. But I didn't even think that it would be as successful as it has been. I love watching that guy play basketball. Now, as much as I like that part of it, the drop-off when Jackson Hayes comes in the game is so drastic that some have even said, you know what, Jackson Hayes is unplayable. I don't know how he gets any better if he doesn't play, so to me, he's got to play. So if you would, speak a little bit to the impact that Adams has made and what you've seen out of Jackson Hayes so far, because they're going to need him at some point.
Right. So I feel like Steven Adams is probably the best center, at least since we've seen and had Tyson Chandler, right, during the Chris Paul heyday, 2007, like 2010. He does all the little things that you need, and he's just the perfect center for Stan Van Gundy's system, to where you can control the paint. You will get every rebound. And this guy's a fighter, a great help defender. Like I said, it's not going to show up in the box score. I mean, he's barely averaging, like 10 points, 9 rebounds a game. But his effect is so much more than that. And you see it. The way he gets guys open with screens, makes the right plays, the smart passes. The only thing you can lament, really, is he just doesn't make all of his free throws, I think, right? He seems to make 1 out of 2 or 0 for 2 every time. But other than that, no, he's been a godsend. And he's been really the sole reason why they're a top 5 defensive team right now in the league. And, of course, yeah, you had to mention it, Jackson Hayes, the drop-off behind Adams has been huge. But as a bright side, when we were all calling Hayes unplayable about a week ago, there has been signs of life the last 2 games to where he's now not completely out of position, right, losing his man or not providing the help that he needs to, playing the 5. And so he's now picking up some boards, getting some scores, and he's improved, right? So that's in itself made him, created a role for him now where you can play him 15 minutes, and he's not going to fall in the face. The defenses are going to collapse and such. And the Pelicans' second quarter, first 5 games or so were just awful. That's where they were really getting whipped, and Stan was searching for rotations. But now things have kind of leveled off. The only thing they really still need to do is get JJ going, because otherwise it looks like they found a good rotation, and that does include Jackson Hayes.
One more thing on Hayes before we move on from that, Ollie, and that is this is a 20-year-old, 7-foot, runs like a gazelle. What do you think his ceiling is? Because we're still talking about a puppy, okay? He's barely been in the league. He was drafted in the top 10 because of his physical makeup and the things that he can do. So what, in your opinion, is his ceiling?
It's going to all come down to how much he matures and picks up the game. I mean, last year, talking to assistant coaches and such, you kind of learned that this kid was just kind of happy to be in the NBA, that he plays professional basketball for a living. But he didn't seem to take it seriously. But again, he was 19 last year. So you're right, he's just 20. So you've got to give him a long leash. And he was always going to be a project. But if he does hit his ceiling, I could see something better than a Tyson Chandler. I mean, I'll be honest with you, his hands are that good. He can catch anything. So offensively, he would be better than Tyson. But because of that athleticism, right, his quickness, he should be able to cover at least the same amount of ground that Tyson did. So if he can just fill his brain up with all the knowledge that he needs to play the position well and just develop those instincts, then, yeah, he could be a top-notch defender and give you enough offensively to where he could be a top 5, maybe 6 guy at his position at center, of course, in the league.
Alexander Walker's gotten some run. He's been in the rotation. Do you think that's because of the struggles of JJ, or do you think that's the plan? He'll stay in the rotation as much as he has been the last 5 games?
I think more so than just JJ's struggles, it's the fact that, look, Stan's got to go deeper than 8 guys, right? He's relied on JJ, Josh Hart, and trying to fill in time behind Adams with Hayes and Melly. But it looks like it's now just become Hayes. So that's not enough. Not when you're playing every other day. You're going to try and squeeze in 72 games in a much more condensed NBA schedule. So Nikhil, I think, has actually done well. So I think he's actually earned these minutes. So it's good to see that he's been getting some run. Now, the thing is, it's been kind of inconsistent, right? He hasn't gotten all too many the last couple games especially. but I think they're going to need him, right? Say an injury hits, crops up. Somebody's going to miss time, whether it's because of COVID, something. You're going to need somebody that can jump into the rotation and play without, being a deer in headlights. So the only way that's going to happen is you got to give these guys, especially the young guys like Nikhil, top playing time.
Oleh Kosel from thebirdrights.com is our guest. Oleh, am I wrong to be encouraged here? I'm sorry. I mean, maybe I'm just the eternal optimist. Maybe it's a new year, whatever it is. But it seems to me we're about a tenth of the way through the season. In the last 4 or 5 years, a tenth of the way through the season, the Pelicans had dug themselves a hole that they would spend the majority of the year trying to dig themselves out of. Am I wrong to be encouraged, even with the setbacks that they've had, from what I've seen so far?
No, I think that's the approach everybody should take. You can look at the record. They're over 500. They've played some decent teams, right? These aren't complete cupcakes, even though I know in the win-loss column they're not that good. But Toronto plays hard. The Spurs play hard. So from that standpoint, yes. And then just look at the stats. The defense is a top 5 defense. They're doing the things to win that Stan Van Gundy's taught them. And considering they haven't spent that much time together, boy, that bodes well. I mean, think about how much more these guys are going to be on the same page in, say, 2 months' time on that end of the floor. So I feel like they are developing an identity. And that's the only thing you wanted with a group of young core in their first league or first year under a new head coach. So, there's a lot to be excited about for sure.
Following the Pelicans, thebirdrights.com is a fantastic resource. Read it every day myself. Oleh, you guys do a great job. Looking forward to the next couple of games before the Pels hit the road. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks again.
And today's show is brought to you in part by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench, a rescheduled Booger McFarland talks NFL and how he feels about his precious Buccaneers. Plus, Executive Chef Michael Johnson answers all of your Munchies questions. We recap LSU, Georgia, and Pelicans Thunder. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
On today's show, brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain, man. You get an auto accident, you have a sports injury that's just kind of flaring up on you. If you're just getting a little bit older, you're starting to hurt a little bit. You got disc problems, muscle and ligament strains, neck or back discomfort. Let them help you out. They'll get you on a stretching regimen, an exercise regimen, or if you need things like dry needling or electric nerve stimulation, ultrasound or cryotherapy, they can help you out. Now, locations 13406 Airline Highway, 2832 Plank Road, and on Jefferson Highway near Drusilla with easy access from both I-10 and I-12, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced their finalists. This is the part where what was a hard job before. Remember when we had the semifinalists, Hess?
I do.
And you remember how hard it was to pare the list down? Didn't get any easier. You got 15 guys, and you got 5 spots. And there's a...
Oh, here we go.
There's a Louisiana... I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Nah,
I'm just
might as well. I mean,
but there is a...
Did it before.
There's a Louisiana flavor to this. Peyton Manning is up for the first time. We know he's going in on the first ballot. Reggie Wayne is up for the second time. Alan Faneca is up for the 6th time. And Sam Mills is up for the 2nd time. We're talking about finalists, not semifinalists.
Right.
These are finalists. So you get...
God, I loved Sam Mills when I was growing up.
Well, there was nothing not to like about Sam Mills. There was nothing not to like about Sam Mills, the player. There was nothing to not like about Sam Mills, the person. If Sam Mills would have been 3 inches taller, he would have been the first pick of, everybody in the draft. But he had to prove himself because of his height, and he did every single time he went out on the field. So I'm going to ask you again, who do you think is getting in? I'm not going to even ask you about Peyton Manning. That's easy. And I think Charles Woodson is going in. I think he's a first ballot guy. I'm going to be shocked if he doesn't go in. I think Woodson's definitely. So in my opinion, that leaves 3 spots the rest of the way. And I would vote for Calvin Johnson 11 times out of 10. He's up for the first time too. And I don't think you're going to raise many objections to Calvin Johnson, are you?
No, I'm not.
No.
He was a cheat code. He was a dominant player at his position for the length of his career.
And I got a pretty good idea how you feel about Jared Allen, who is also up for the first time, but maybe not a first ballot.
So this is always tough for me, and I'm trying to write them down. I don't even know if I can. It's always tough for me because I'm always going to probably overvalue the people I played with or against because I have that experience. So
don't think that there's not a bias in that room with the voters too for guys that they covered. This is a media thing. So bias is you're trying to be objective, but a little bit of built-in bias is normal.
I know what an SOB it was to block Jared Allen coming off the edge.
Right.
Like I had to do that. Like on the backside of a zone run, I had number 69.
How'd you do?
I cut him every time. There's no way I was staying up top with Jared Allen. It wasn't happening. It's like my first NFL block, first ever one, was against Zach Thomas, who's a finalist. Like I realized low man wins, and it was hard to get lower than Zach Thomas. Charles Woodson was so versatile. I mean, I played against him numerous amounts of times, and he was so good. There was so many different things that he could do. Obviously, Peyton's getting in, but John Lynch is the guy that probably is not going to get in. There is a blitz in the NFL. We all call it universally Lynch blitz because he made it what it is. Like he was so good at it.
Well, I'll give you one thing that I don't know if this is in his favor or not, but of all of the players that are on the finalist list, he has made the list of finalists the most times.
Yeah.
8 times John Lynch has been a finalist. This is the 8th time, and 7 times he hasn't gotten in. By the way, number 2 on that list is Faneca, who is a 6th-time finalist.
A guy like Tony Baselli, though, like he didn't play long enough, did he? I know he was dominant for the time that he was in. It's kind of like the Terrell Davis argument, who did get in.
I think Tony Baselli is going to get in. I just don't think he's going to.
If he gets in over Faneca, that would completely shock me.
So there were three guys that were in a bunch for a number of years. Baselli, who's been a 5-time finalist, Faneca, who is now a 6-time finalist, and Steve Hutchinson, who
Mawai was there too for a bit.
Mawai was there. That's right, beforehand. And Mawai got in 2 years ago, and Hutchinson got in last year. And I think they're going to put one of the two, Faneca or Baselli, in this year. I'd love to tell you that Faneca's going in first. I can't tell you that for sure. If it were me, based on the longevity of his career and the fact that he was on a Super Bowl winner and he was a major, the best offensive lineman on a Super Bowl team, and he had a pretty key block on a major play in the Super Bowl, Fast Willie Parker. I think Faneca should go in before Baselli. I would have questions about Baselli because of the longevity as well, but I think that the Hall has softened on that a little bit. That if you were dominant, Terrell Davis is one. I think Kurt Warner's another who didn't have the longest career and had a kind of a donut in the middle between that dominance with the Rams and that great run with the Cardinals, where he was kind of in a no man's land for about 3 years, where he was on the Giants and it just didn't work out. And Warner went in. So I think that Baselli will eventually get in, but I think that Faneca should go first. If my prediction, you're gonna write this down because we're gonna find out here in a few weeks what it is. I think Manning is going in. I think Woodson is going in. And I think Johnson is going in all on the first ballot.
All right, so you said Manning, Johnson. Who was the other one?
Charles Woodson.
All right.
And then I think the other two are going to be Alan Faneca and John Lynch. I think they're finally going to put Lynch in. And this should...
He deserves to be in. Everybody on this list deserves
and this
to be
is,
at some point.
This is not, me just trying to be sentimental. I think that Lynch, deserves to go in. But one of the guys that I think really should be in, and I don't think he's going to get in this year, but maybe he will, I think Torrey Holt should be in. That guy was a great receiver for a long time. He was a dominant guy, and I don't think that he should be penalized because of the numbers that Marshall Faulk put up or Isaac Bruce put up, and the greatest show on turf. Man, he was a key cog in that, and he did it for a really, really long time. I would vote for Torrey Holt, but I don't think, if you're asking me for a prediction, I think it's Manning, I think it's Woodson, I think it's Johnson, and then I think Faneca and Lynch. But I'm not sure about either one of those. Yeah. If it's Baselli and Allen instead, and look, we didn't even talk about guys like Clay Matthews or Zach Thomas or Leroy Butler is another one that is up. It was just
Reggie Wayne,
fantastic. Reggie Wayne.
I mean, we forget how great he was.
See, here's my thing with Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne, I think, is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. But if you're putting three, if I'm trying to spread this out, there's nothing that prevents you from voting for 3 wide receivers. But I don't think that they're going to put 3 wide receivers or even 2 wide receivers in the same class. Same way I don't think they're going to put 2 offensive linemen in the same class. So if you're asking me to rank Johnson, Holt, and Wayne, I'm going to rank them in that order. I thought Johnson was the best. I thought Holt was the second best, and I thought Wayne was the third best. I think they all get in eventually. But if you ask me to put them in an order, that's the order I'd put them in.
And that's fair. It's a good point you make. And continuing going down the list, again, maybe I'm biased because playing against this player, Richard Sherman was dominant. I mean,
Richard Seymour.
Richard Seymour. Richard Sherman was dominant too.
He is. He's just not eligible yet.
Seymour was
He'll
a
get
guy
in one day.
that was just a mountain.
Yeah.
He was a mountain of a man, and you had to know exactly where. And he was nasty. I mean, he would talk. He talked almost as much as any non-Raven I played against. The Ravens are in their own category of talking, but but I mean, he was so good, and we had a really good interior offensive line, and they struggled with a guy like Seymour. So there's names on this list. We could go down every single one of them and kind of give our case. That's the reason that they are finalists. But I don't disagree with Manning, Johnson, and Woodson being the 3. It's just who's the other 2.
Yeah, it's a tough vote. I don't envy the guys that are that are in that room. I really don't. Man, 2003 Georgia team had some talent on it, huh? I mean, some of the guys that were that were on that team that Seymour was on that team, wasn't he? Or am I thinking?
No, Seymour's first year in the league was 2001.
Okay, so I'm thinking about that was a Thomas Davis team.
Let me tell you,
but he was gone by that time.
Thomas Davis is still playing, by the way.
Yeah,
he finished up in 2004.
He's on the Frank Gore.
He's
ticket.
still playing.
Yeah,
for the Washington football team.
Those 5 years, there was a ridiculous amount of talent go through Georgia.
Georgia's the one place. I know we're kind of spinning this all over the place at the end here, but Georgia's like the one place that you're wondering how in the world have you not won a national title in 40 years? And I know
they're wondering that too.
I know you were a couple of plays away, but you didn't get it done. LSU's lost in a championship game before. They still got, 3 titles in the last 20 years.
It was a famous question that Nick Saban asked when they interviewed him for this job. He looked at it and said, look at the amount of players from Louisiana that are in the NFL. Why are you guys not winning? Mm-hmm. And that question we could do 20 shows on.
Right.
You'd ask the same question to Georgia. Go look at the amount of talent that has come out of the state of Georgia and ask yourself why Georgia hasn't won a national title. Is it the same reasons that is it here in 2000? It was gross mismanagement of the athletic department that had been going on for a dozen years. I don't know what it is over there. Might be just bad luck, bad coaching, bad whatever. But you go get the list, okay? And after you get past California, Texas, and Florida, who have these mega populations, go look at the amount of players out of Louisiana and Georgia that have gone to the NFL, and a lot of those through the University of Georgia. And you say, the last 20 years, LSU's got 3 national championships. How many you got? None. Ooh,
I mean, I guess you could point to, Clemson being successful recently. They've stolen players like a Trevor Lawrence from Georgia. Obviously, the Florida schools coming to Georgia, the Alabama schools coming to Georgia. Like, I realize that, but you're kind of in the same situation as LSU. I know you have Georgia Tech, another Power 5 player, but you're head and shoulders above where they're as a program. You're the big dog in town, and it's not close. It's fascinating to me with all the players, and we could sit here and we could list them off, player and player and player, of who they've had, and really they've been close.
They were in the national championship game 3 years ago.
Outside of that, though, you're more of a historian than
the 2004 team, but for circumstances and losing that game to Florida.
I guess in 2007 too. They had a conversation. They got the Sugar Bowl. They beat Colt Brennan in Hawaii. They were on the outskirts.
Is it the 2004 team I'm thinking about, or the 05? Is it the 2004 team or the 05
beat
team?
us in the SEC championship.
Whichever
game.
one of those teams lost the one game to Florida, and they had a key drop. Was it Browning that dropped the ball? I'm trying to remember. But they had a key drop from their best receiver in the cocktail party. They lost the game. It was the only game they lost. Whichever year that was the closest that Rick had come. We'll take a break. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. You know, they talk all the time about changing lives. Well, you know, when they talk about changing lives, they're talking about doing things in the community. And right now, GMFS is giving away $10,000 in Visa gift cards to those who visit participating Go Local businesses and enter the drawing. Go to GMFSmortgage.com/Go Local. You know how we spell go around here. GEAUX, Go Local, for your part in $10,000 worth of Visa gift cards to be given away by GMFS Mortgage. GMFS Mortgage interest rates remain at extremely low levels right now. When we talk about changing lives, we're talking about changing your monthly budget. So sit down with a local counselor and map out your goals. Ask some questions, decide what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then let them walk you from there all the way to the closing. Do what I did, do what thousands of others have done, and start your financial journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. There's a newest member of the Heisman fraternity, and the Saints are back on the practice field getting ready for the Wildcard game against the Bears. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You missed it at the top of the show. LSU officially naming Jake Peetz as the offensive coordinator, DJ Mangus as the passing game coordinator. The interview with Marcus Freeman, we understand, will take place tomorrow, and has obviously emerged as LSU's top target. Had a little conversation with Notre Dame. We knew that they were in play as well. So,
come on, you don't want to go to Notre Dame. It's cold, snows.
Some people like cold and snow.
Slow. Keep the grass a little too high at times because they're slow.
Well, you're just going down a greatest hits of what coaches are looking for, right?
You got to be worried about getting those gold helmets painted the night before the game.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to be his job.
You got to worry about watching Rudy over and over again.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to be his job.
Nobody wants to watch Rudy. You live in South Bend, but probably Mishawaka. You know, that's where a lot of the coaches live.
Is that one of the really nice gated suburbs or something?
That's right next to it. I don't know. That's where the mall's at.
That's where the mall's at. I'm pretty sure that's not why he's going either.
Nobody wants to go there. I mean, come on, Marcus.
I think.
Did I mention it's slow?
I think the fact that he got out of there without a contract. What do you say all the time about coaches that you're trying to hire? If they get in your building, if they don't throw you off their lawn, and you got them listening, and that's the guy you want, close the deal.
Yep. LSU did it twice today.
Yeah, close the deal. Don't let them out of the building unless you have what you want. A question out of the Bayou 4 chat about Ari Gilbert, and it said being in the transfer portal doesn't necessarily mean you have to transfer. No, it doesn't. You can always come back. What percentage of players that, since in the short life of the transfer portal, have we seen enter the transfer portal and then come back? Not just at LSU, just in general.
I don't know a number. 10%. It might.
It's small.
That might be high. It might be closer to 5%.
If you put yourself in the transfer portal, your intention is to transfer.
It is, but
it's the only reason to do it.
Yeah, but it's been done before. It's been done where players put in. Coaches have had a conversation with
change their mind.
There's a quarterback from Rutgers. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I remember seeing where he put himself in the portal. Greg Schiano had a conversation with him. He took his name out of the portal. He's back at Rutgers. So it's been done. It's been done at every position, but it's not likely to happen just because you're talking, between 5 and 10% of guys that actually go into the portal. Colorado had a quarterback, Sam Neuer, did the same thing, put himself in the portal, took himself out of the portal, now is going back to Colorado. So, look, if you want to take a look at the transfer portal, 247 Sports does a fantastic job. Just Google it. It will pull up. You'll see everyone that is in the transfer portal, where they're going, if they're going to be eligible right away, if they have to get a waiver. All that information is there.
This one is from Chris. It says, NFL coaches don't leave to come to coach college. What's the real reason? That money. A quarterback's coach in the NFL does not make as much as an offensive coordinator at a top 10 school.
No.
Now, we're not talking about a guy leaving the Carolina Panthers to go coach at Utah State, but the salaries, and we don't have a salary on him yet, but it's going to be 7 figures.
Yeah.
He's not making 7 figures to be a quarterback's coach in the NFL. And I
would be willing to bet triple the salary.
I would say that's probably I would say it's probably pretty close to what he's doing. And for Mangus to come in and be a passing game coordinator, they started Brady at 400, I believe it was, in 2019. He's below the quarterback's coach at
he getting
Carolina.
a bump too.
Yeah, he's going to get. I mean, there was a time where what Chris is saying was absolutely true. The NFL salaries at all levels, head coach, coordinator, position coach level, quality control assistant, dwarfed what the numbers were in college. That time is long gone.
Yeah.
The top colleges are not only matching, but in a lot of cases exceeding what the NFL salaries are. Now, as far as the lifestyle and the things that you have to do to be a college coach versus an NFL coach, no question. All right. We talked about this yesterday. The NFL, you coach your position, you coach your group, you go home. Not that it's not extremely backbreaking work during the season, but in the off season, it's not nearly as intense as what the college game is, which requires you to recruit and recruit and recruit and camp and camp and camp around the clock. But at triple a salary, you do it.
Yeah, you can also say, though, if you want to throw a positive thing towards college coaching, the game plans aren't as detailed as they are in professional football. In professional football, each and every week, you're going against the absolute best minds in football, and you do it 24/7. Like, there's no off time to go recruiting. There's no time to do this, that, or the other. It's football, 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 like all the time, and the game plans are worked on so much more than they are in college football. College football game plan is, if you're talking about it, it's a notebook, where a NFL game plan is a dictionary, just to kind of give you an idea of the thickness of the playbook. So I guess that part of it, because in college, like, you've got weeks where you've got, let's call it like it is, you got some cupcakes. You don't have that in the NFL. Even if you're playing the Jaguars, they got Jimmy's and Joe's over there with the Jaguars. So that part of it, I guess, is a little bit different.
How much do you think – I see this a lot with coaches, and I see it both ways, where you'll look at a resume, and a guy's been coaching for 20 years, and 18 of them are in either the college or the pro game. And then there's that little 1 or 2 year blip where they go and do the other thing. Will Muschamp is a good example of this, okay? Muschamp has been a college coach since 2000, except for that, was it a 1 or 2 year? Was he saving both years or just 1 year with the Dolphins?
I think it was one. It might have been.
Okay. And you see this a lot. You'll see a college coach just go up there to do it. Ed Orgeron spent a year in the NFL with the Saints. I'll bet you anything, if you look up Joe Brady's resume in 20 years, that the only year he coached college football will be last year. He's a pro guy, but he went down to college. Right. For him, was an opportunity, more money, but it was also an opportunity. For these guys, it's an opportunity. Maybe they want to be pro coaches the rest of their life. Maybe they want to be back in the college game. And Mangus just went and did a year in the NFL. You can do it either way.
There is something to that. A guy like Todd Monken. Todd Monken was in college from 1989 until 2006 when he left LSU. He then went to the Jaguars, and then he went back to college. And then he went from being the head coach of Southern Miss to being an OC for the Tampa Bay Bucks, was the OC for the Cleveland Browns. And now he's back in college. And so some guys, man, as much as they want to try to go do the other thing, they're just built for one thing. I think Todd Monken is a college coach. I love Coach Monken. I thought he was great. I thought he had the right personality to be a college coach. So you're right. It seems like when guys go over, they try to test the waters. I mean, we could give countless examples of head coaches that have tried college and pro, and ones that have tried the pro. Lovie Smith tried the pros and then tried to go back to college, and he got fired, right? So it does seem like it's almost in your DNA. Look, you can be one or the other. You have the mentality to be this or that.
Is it also to get a more well-rounded set of ideas? Hey, let me go see what they're doing there.
That's what coaching clinics are for.
Okay. Well, coaching clinic with a salary, maybe?
Hey, that's where Joe Brady got his job. Came down for a coaching clinic. Wild Coach O on the board, and they're like, who's he? Yeah, we'll take him. Yep, he's with us.
Brent in the Bayou Fort Huddle asked, would you rather deal with recruiting or deal with Jerry Jones? But both jobs have their own separate set of headaches.
I'll be transparent here. Recruiting would be very difficult for me. It would be. And maybe it's because of my background being a low-rated recruit and just being excited to have Coach Saban talking to me and things like that. That part of it would be very difficult to me, just because everybody can't play, but you got to tell them they're going to play. Like you have to be a good recruiter. That part of it would be difficult for me in professional football, because for me, I'm a guy that enjoys watching tape, breaking down film, going over concepts. Maybe it's because that's a part of my game where I had to be sharp. It's just that would be me. I personally would like to just turn on the tape and coach professionals. But
okay, but what
there's guys that thrive in recruiting. They love it.
Unique problem in the NFL would be coaching a guy that makes 10 times your salary.
Yeah.
You got to go coach the superstar where he's like, dude, I'm a 6-time All-Pro. You're a position coach. Get out my business.
Oh, I'll tell a story, and this is how you have to be a professional coach. We're in a team meeting. North Turner is got the clicker. He's got the little red light over there, and he's going over a play, right? And he is just letting Sproles have it. He's like, Sproles, when you run this route, you've got to turn your head to the right. When you put your right foot in the ground, it's got to look like a flat, even though it's an angle route, and just going over like, this has got to be better. The running back coach says, hey, Norv, that's LT. He looks around, says, LT, hell of a route, and moves on to the next play. That's how it is. And Norv knew it. Everybody knew it. We all started dying laughing. We didn't go back. Wasn't, okay, LT, hey, same thing I said at Sproles, like, hell of a route, LT, next play. That's what it is. Like, you have to know that going in, being a professional coach.
You treat everybody fairly, but not equally. That's the NFL.
That's a good example.
We'll take a break. Back on the other side. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Garcia Roofing every single day here. You can count on Garcia Roofing every single day with their Garcia Guarantee. You are getting trusted home improvement from experts over at Garcia Roofing. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, and Lafayette. Once again on the LSU list of fastest growing Tiger businesses, coming in at number 19 this year. That's 2 years in a row they've been on that list. Best in Ascension when it comes to roofing companies. They win awards, but they always, always, always stand behind their work. You can always count on Garcia Roofing.
You know, all aspects of the process are going to be handled in a professional manner. And whether it's roof cleaning, roof repair, commercial roofing, or a complete roof replacement, your Baton Rouge roofing experts, also in New Orleans and Lafayette and on the North Shore, roofing, siding, gutters. Roof now and pay later. You can call 225-756-3100, 225-756-3100, or online. It's GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench, a rescheduled Booger McFarland talks NFL and how he feels about his precious Buccaneers. Plus, Executive Chef Michael Johnson answers all of your Munchies questions. We recap LSU, Georgia, and Pelicans Thunder. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And I'm in a transfer portal rabbit hole right now.
So
I shouldn't have started it.
All right, rabbit hole is a good thing because ever since he got access to this thing, this is like his new toy. Every day, Hester's in the transfer portal, just finding out. So who's today's?
It's just no. It's funny. Like I'm going through this list and like former LSU quarterback targets when LSU still had a quarterback problem.
Lay it on me.
And everyone would break down. Grant Gunnell. I don't know if you remember him. I think he committed to A&M
guy,
and then he went to Arizona. And now he is going to Memphis. I remember it was a big deal. Like he was at LSU had one of those things in Houston, Tiger Tours, and he was there. It's like, oh, he's coming to LSU. And when he didn't, it was like all hell broke loose, right?
Give me another one.
He's in the transfer portal. James Foster, I don't know if you remember him, quarterback prospect who went to Texas A&M. He is now transferring to Charlotte. He's in there. Of course, Peter Parrish at LSU. Now he's going to Memphis.
So him and Gunnell are both going to Memphis?
Yeah, so another one will be in the transfer portal next year. Remember Jake Bentley, South Carolina starting quarterback for a long time, transferred to Utah.
Been in college football for a
72
long
seasons,
time.
yes.
Yeah.
He's going for his 73rd season. He has not yet announced where he is.
Does he have to ask for a waiver?
Probably not. His Lifetime Achievement Award. Garrett Schrader was the starting quarterback at Mississippi State when LSU played them in 19. He is now going to Syracuse.
I remember him not being very good.
He was more of a running back who was trying to throw the ball. Cord Sandberg, don't know if you remember that name. LSU was a little bit interested in him. He was a former baseball player. Went and played baseball after high school, was a highly recruited guy at the time for football when he was coming out of high school, went to Auburn. He's now back in the transfer portal. Jarrett Garantano, so we got to say his name for another season. Ryan Helinski.
Wait a minute, wait. Can I back up on Garantano for a second? That guy was gifted more opportunities at the University of Tennessee than I think any quarterback I can remember. I don't think anybody has been elevated and benched more times in a single season and career. He's the hits leader for the season and for the career.
There's got to be Casey Dick at Arkansas, maybe.
I'm talking about benched and then put back in the game more as a starter, like the following week. I don't mean like an individual game, although he did that too.
You did that too.
It's
many times.
All right, you're taking this guy out of the game, bringing the other guy, but next week you're going right back to this guy. He wins the prize.
Yeah, so Jarrett Garantano is going somewhere else to play football. I mentioned Ryan Helinski was the top quarterback in California. This one surprised me. So he came to South Carolina, across the country, actually threw for over 2,000 yards as a true freshman. Played pretty well. Now he made some freshman mistakes, but the talent, you could see it. And then South Carolina goes and gets Mike Bobo to be their offensive coordinator. Well, they're going to try to steady Eddie this thing and just win enough games to save their jobs. He goes and gets Colin Hill from Colorado State, his former quarterback who had no ACLs left, and that doesn't work out. But they didn't really let Helinski – they put Luke Duty in instead of Helinski whenever Hill would struggle. And so he's like, okay, I guess I'll go find somewhere else to play. So that's a name. Obviously, this isn't – LSU's not on the quarterback search. They got enough quarterbacks right now. But it is interesting once you start to get in the rabbit hole of the transfer portal because obviously the quarterback position dominates this thing. Like, okay, well, you can go to offensive line. Offensive line, it's not as 4-star, even 5-star heavy. Like, you've got some 4 stars, but it really starts and it kind of goes quickly into some 3-star transfers.
I'd like to think if there were 4-star offensive linemen or 5-star offensive linemen out there looking to transfer that we'd know who they were.
That's a very good point because I think we would. Okay, going back to our conversation of last segment, Curtis Dunlap, don't know who that young man is, but he's a 4-star player coming out of high school. He was at Minnesota, put his name in the portal. Now he's going back to Minnesota. So that's another case of someone putting their name in the portal and taking it back out.
We got a minute here. Devontae Smith won the Heisman last night. He was a heavy favorite to do that. Trevor Lawrence finished second, though.
Yeah.
Surprised you?
That surprised me. I thought either Mac Jones and Kyle Trask numbers, they were. I didn't think I know it to be factual, were better than Trevor Lawrence. It's not a Lifetime Achievement Award. Trevor Lawrence is a hell of a football player, going to be the number one pick, but in no way did he, I don't want to say deserve, because the guy's a hardworking kid, but you know what I mean. He should not have been second. It should have been one of the other two players. That did surprise me. Devontae Smith wins it with 36.2% of the vote. That is the lowest percentage of the vote to win the Heisman since 2001, when a player with 27.75% of the vote won, and
Eric
that
Crouch?
was Eric Crouch. See, I knew you'd know that.
I came out right at the top of my head. I think
27%. Just to give you an idea real quick, Joe had 93.8% of the vote last year.
That would be
the
more
highest
than.
ever.
You say it's not a Lifetime Achievement Award, and you're correct. The wording on your ballot is vote for the best player in college football.
And I think they did that this year.
Right, yeah, I had no problem with that. But I do think that Lawrence was second in a Lifetime Achievement Award sort of way. Even though that's not right, I think a lot of people will say, you know what, I'm going to vote for that kid second, because there might have been, 2 years ago, maybe it was because he was a freshman, and last year he had a great year, but Burrow had a better year. Right. We want to recognize it in some way.
I don't like that. I'm only part
it's okay
of.
to be against
I'm
that.
only part of one committee, the Low Man Trophy for the nation's best fullback, and Jacoby Buchanan from Army won that award last night. So congratulations to him. But there were some candidates that you could say would be lifetime achievement guys, but you got to go with who wins that year because they played the best in that year. He's a tree trunk with legs, by the way. Look him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour number 3, straight ahead. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
They are exactly the same.
They're identical. Actually, they're not. House 2 also has antioxidant vitamin C.
Antioxidant?
Then we'll take House 2.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. and I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Trahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Browns are full steam ahead, according to Coach Kevin Stefanski, after the team's latest round of COVID-19 testing results proved no new positives. Stefanski, 2 assistants, 2 players will all miss Sunday's AFC Wildcard game against the Steelers after testing positive for the coronavirus. No Stefanski on the sideline will have a huge impact on Cleveland, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
You're losing not only your schematic leader, but your actual in-game play caller that understands the vibe and the flow of this team each and every down. And I think that's huge, and it can't go underrated. This is like losing, at least to me, 3 to 7 points in this game to a team that you are already the underdog to.
Ryan Clark with Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. From ESPN's Adam Schefter, a Titans trainer tested positive for COVID-19 today. The team is going through contact tracing. Its facility remains open. The Titans will start their week of practice later today as they prepare for Sunday's playoff game versus the Ravens. Clemson quarterback and presumptive #1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence announcing today he's entering the NFL draft. Jacksonville currently has the top pick.
Download the DraftKings app and use code MAX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 3. Happy that you're with us this afternoon. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport, and on CST and on YouTube. Joining us now is our friend Ken Trahan from CrescentCitySports.com. Ken, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, doing fine, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Saints and the Bears on Sunday afternoon at the Dome. This will be the second of 3 games in the Wildcard weekend's day number 2. So let's start with this. What version of the New Orleans Saints do you think we will see on Sunday? And I'm talking about availability of, well, you know the list of names, Ken. So
Sure.
I'll just ask you to comment on what you think we're going to see.
Well, I mean, Michael Thomas up in the air. Sean Payton in his conference call this morning kind of left that open. Said he's making progress, but wouldn't talk about injuries. He never does. So I suspect, and it's just my guess, that Thomas might be activated from the reserve injured list and might try to play, but stay tuned on that. I, of course, fully expect Alvin Kamara to play, despite not practicing this week. I think Josh Hill will be back. I think that there's a good chance Marcus Williams will be back. Deontay Harris, good chance he will be back as well, as I'm just going down the list. I mean, it's such a long list. Do we have all day? So Latavius Murray, certainly expect him to be back. So, look, it's just remarkable when you have 10 starters, 10 guys that start on your football team that didn't play last week. And they won't easily anyway. But, again, it speaks to the depth we've spoken of all year long. So I think that you'll have a pretty improved roster available for the game. How effective? That's the big question, right? I mean, when guys haven't played because of injury or COVID or haven't practiced, how effective are they going to be? I don't know the answer to that, but this team has shown great resiliency. They picked up the pieces every step of the way, and that's why they ended up 12-4. So I suspect they'll have enough good players available to be able to get the job done.
Ken, have we heard how Drew's feeling after the last couple of games? Obviously, we know what he was dealing with coming in to the Chiefs game and played in that game, and he's actually played pretty well. Looks like he's gotten back to his normal self. Any word on how he's feeling?
He's not saying anything about it. He's just like positive as can be, as always. So he's acting like it doesn't even exist. And I think that that's the mindset that the team is playing off of, and I think it's significant. If you drew attention to it, it might be different. And if others were commenting on it, it might be different. But again, Sean Payton really does control the message. He always has and does a good job at that. And I say that positively in that they don't talk about injuries. They don't discuss it publicly in any way, shape, or form. And that goes along with the guys that are playing with injuries like Breeze. So, no, nothing really has been said about it. I think you just have to look at the evidence, right? First game he played, he didn't play very well. Second game he played better, but still not to his level. Third game he played, I thought he played very well, in particular with a limited supporting cast. And he showed you why he's so valuable. It was way beyond his accuracy. It's about the decision-making and about what he sees. I mean, if you go back and watch that game tape, and I know you guys watch the game intently and analyze it very well, you will see there were at least 5 very obvious changes at the line of scrimmage. Plays changed. And in every instance that I could pick out, the play succeeded. And on 3 occasions, it succeeded in big fashion. So that's what he brings to the table. Not too many guys can see what he sees, adjust quickly, and make the right call, whether it's a line call, whether it's to flip the side you're running to, whether it's to change from a run to a pass or a pass to a run. He identifies so quickly and is able to exploit defenses so well.
Ken Trahan from Crescent City Sports is our guest. Ken, let's go back to the first game that these two teams played. It was a Saints win. It was a game that went to overtime. It was a game that featured a different quarterback for the Chicago Bears in Nick Foles. I seem to remember it as a game that it felt like the Saints had taken control of in the fourth quarter, and Chicago rallied late to get it into the extra period. What do you remember about the first game, and how much of a different Bears team does this look like to you now?
Yeah, it was a strange game. Saints had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, had total control, and they let it kind of slip away. I think the Saints are a better defensive team now than they were then. Start there. Secondly, the Saints were finding themselves at that stage, but hadn't quite arrived at their peak performance yet. So I think there's that. Third, of course, it was on the road and on their surface at Soldier Field. And as you mentioned, they had a different quarterback, and Nick Foles actually had a pretty good game that day. Nothing special, but pretty good. And, you know, Mooney's the kid from Tulane's a good player. Robinson did a good job. They've got some weapons on that team, but this will be a totally different look with Trubisky. Interestingly enough, you know, Peyton and the Saints have played Trubisky twice and beaten him both times. One game, Trubisky had no effect at all. Wasn't very good. The other game, he was better, but the Saints still had no problem winning the game by double figures. So Sean Payton talked extensively today on his conference call about how to defend them and about how play action and bootlegs are clearly the definition of the Bears offense with Trubisky. So that's all about contain. Well, you've seen a lot of that. Packers did it earlier this season against them successfully. And, of course, the Eagles, as we know, had great success against them doing it. But the fact that they've had experience against it and they know Trubisky, I think, will certainly serve them well. And as I mentioned, I think this defense is better than it was the first time these two teams played.
Ken, how many times do you think the staff has let the players know about the game last year against the Vikings and kind of what can happen if you don't maybe take your opponent the way you should coming into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, they won't say that publicly, but I'll bet they have. They're playing an opponent from the same division as the one last year. They're playing an opponent as a heavy favorite, same as last year. They're playing an opponent at home, playing an opponent that they've beaten already and should beat again. The expectations are ho-hum. Saints will win that game, and then they'll play probably Seattle. Well, wait a minute. You got to play the game first. You know, you've got to beat an NFL team and a capable NFL team. Now the Bears had won 3 in a row before losing to Green Bay, and they'd averaged nearly 36 points a game in those 3 wins. So they were playing pretty good football. And against the Packers, they're 21-16. And as you guys may have seen, they had like an 8-minute drive and with a chance to take the lead and go for it on 4th and less than a yard. And why in the world Matt Nagy called a pass play, I have no idea. You know, get under center, sneak the football, and get a push from behind and make the first down, for crying out loud. They didn't. They missed the first down on an incomplete pass. Packers took over, marched the field and scored again. They win 35-16 in a game that was really competitive. So the point is the Bears are better than they were playing earlier this year too. So while the Saints are better, the Bears are better. So you need to raise the level of your performance and of your game overall to make sure you win this game. I fully expect the Saints will, but in this crazy year, who knows what happens between now and Sunday? The injury report comes out this afternoon. We'll take our first look at that and get our first idea about who's playing and who's not. They got their starting guards back last week, Nick Easton and Andrus Peet, and we'll see who they get back this week and who's not going to play. I don't think Traquan Smith will play this week, but I think there's a chance with Thomas, as I mentioned, and I mentioned the others who I do think have a good chance to come back and play this week. Swearinger, another guy that I didn't mention earlier, he could come back as well. And that's all about the fact that they're playing on Sunday rather than on Saturday, with the quarantine ending for these guys on Saturday evening.
Ken, let me see if, as a Saints historian, you're maybe thinking the same thing I'm thinking. When I saw this playoff thing come out, and I'm like, man, it's been a long time since the Bears played a team on the road, and I found out it was 26 years since they played a playoff game on the road. As a longtime Saints fan, I remember the Steve Walsh game in the playoffs. I certainly remember the NFC Championship game in 2006. I remember the Beast Mode game, okay, and I remember multiple trips to Seattle to play in the slush. Am I just being a vindictive Saints fan to hope that that the Saints absolutely walloped the stew out of the Chicago Bears in the Superdome on Sunday, and they do the same thing to the Seattle Seahawks the week after that in the Superdome, where they never seem to get to play these teams in the postseason?
Yeah, I think that's a good point about the Bears and their road games in the playoffs, and about playing these people at home. Interestingly enough, of course, there's not much of a home field advantage other than being at home in this day and age, so that's part of it. And Coach Payton, by the way, addressed that today, and he's gotten a lot of comments about that. I wrote about it at CrescentCitySports.com, talking about his idea to have 50,000 fans in the stands. And some people have applauded him, and others have said he's crazy, and so forth and so on. But is there some talk going on between the Saints and the city about allowing a few more people in? I've been told that there might be. I can't confirm that. But then again, today's Wednesday. So if they're going to do that, it would have to happen real quick for this weekend, maybe the following weekend, right? But again, it ain't going to be 50,000 people. Let's forget about that. So it's an idea. He floated it. He's trying. Everybody wants home field advantage, because what's obvious is that opposing teams have a tremendous advantage. They can make all their line call changes and make all their play changes at the line of scrimmage, which normally on the road will not happen. It's certainly not in the Superdome, but that's been happening this year. So it's home field advantage because you know the turf. You're at home. You don't have to travel. It's familiar territory. You know all the nooks and crannies. So there is a little bit of an advantage, but not nearly what we're used to seeing.
Ken, you were on the call. I wasn't. There was a kind of an air of, is he serious? He wanted to put 50,000 fans in a bubble? I mean, it's like, how many rooms was he expecting Miss Benson to pay for at the Roosevelt and the Monteleone?
Yeah, he said it can be done. It can be done. He repeated that twice. So he's. I mean, if you're asking me what my take was, I thought he was serious.
Okay.
So I don't think it was just, hey, here's an idea or just a joke. I think he was serious about it. I really do. But do I think it should happen? No.
Ken Trahan, CrescentCitySports.com. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Ken Trahan, Crescent City Sports. I mean, if Miss Benson's, springing for a suite at the, the Monteleone or something like that, I mean, I would imagine that would garner some interest. Yeah, for those that missed the statement, it was that Peyton thought, hey, we can put 50,000 fans in a bubble for, I forgot how long it is, put them up in a hotel room, keep them in the bubble, we'll bus them, we'll sanitize the buses, we'll take them out of the bubble of the hotel, we'll make sure the dome is squared away, we'll put them in the sanitized buses, we'll take them to the Superdome, we'll put them in there, we'll have the safest 50,000 person gathering that you've ever heard of in your life. And everybody's like, huh? Is he serious? Who knows? But
hey, shoot your shot, right?
I mean, when you're dealing with Ms. Benson's checkbook and you can put 50,000 people in a hotel for 3 or 4 days, go right ahead.
She doesn't have to put me in a hotel. I'll just say wherever.
Get a discount rate,
wherever.
right?
Yeah.
You get a group rate, right?
Like herding cattle. 50,000 people just bringing them to the Superdome.
Probably wouldn't have been at the Roosevelt. Probably wouldn't have been at the Monteleone.
Yeah.
Maybe a step down from that.
Maybe.
Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gotros Outdoor Power and our friends over at Skag. The zero turns for 2021 are in. And, of course, at 60 months, interest-free financing continues to be available at both locations of Gotros. Skag, the number one zero-turn unit on the market, both residential and commercial. I know we're not quite thinking about cutting grass yet, but it'll be here before you know it. So get the units that are the best at the best possible price and free delivery from Gotros.
You're exactly right there, Hanny. You can go to GotrosOutdoorPower.com to check out the full fleet of Skag Power equipment. It's right there on the website under new equipment. It'll show you the Turf Tiger, the Tiger Cat, the Patriot, the Freedom Z, the Cheetah, the Liberty Z, the wheel blowers, the truck loaders. They've got it all over at Gotros. And please remember, please take full advantage as well of that free delivery to your doorstep throughout the state of Louisiana. That's from Shreveport to Monroe, from Monroe to Lake Charles, and everywhere in between. They will deliver it right to your door for no charge. That's GotrosOutdoorPower.com. Gotros, we make it easy.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines, fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. There's a newest member of the Heisman fraternity, and the Saints are back on the practice field getting ready for the Wildcard game against the Bears. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Georgia's hired themselves an athletic director. We actually know who he is because he's an LSU graduate. His name is Josh Brooks. No relation to Josh Ward here in our studio. Josh Brooks was actually worked in the equipment department here, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was equipment manager for a little bit. We'll have to fact check that with Greg Stringfellow, because if you've worked in the LSU equipment room since the early part of the 90s, I mean, Greg's been in there, so we'll have to get that confirmed. But
he graduated from Georgia, too. He's got a degree from LSU and Georgia.
From Hammond, yeah.
And he was up at Millsaps for a while as an athletic director there, kind of cutting his teeth, and he was an associate AD at Louisiana Monroe, and he's taking over for Greg McGarity, who's been there for a while. He has spent some time at Georgia before, but now he will be the full-time athletic director. McGarity's going to retire at the end of the year. And in another move that is a huge shock, I think, to everybody in college football, Trevor Lawrence has declared himself eligible for the draft. That was
what?
You ever? Okay. Have you grown like I have, kind of immune to the breaking news stuff at the bottom of the sports ticker?
Yes.
Breaking news. Because sometimes it's breaking news, but often it's like, we knew that. Breaking news, Trevor Lawrence declares for the draft. Really?
They should just say expected news instead of breaking news.
How about things you knew 2 years ago? News.
Yeah, I agree there. By the way, confirmed Josh Brooks, equipment manager for LSU.
Equipment manager for LSU.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
40 years old. Good for him.
He was Jimbo Fisher's student assistant, because every equipment manager has a position, and he was Jimbo Fisher's student assistant.
Jimbo hard to work for? Demanding?
So Jimbo is that demanding person that will get after your you-know-what, but then he comes back on the back end. Now, you know I had to get on to you, and then starts hugging on you a little bit, and he'll treat you right. He'll take care of you.
He does the good cop, bad cop thing all by himself?
All by himself.
Okay.
Yeah. Damn it, Jamarcus. If I had $1 for every time I heard that.
Should have took him to
I'd
the
have
league.
A lot of dollars. Not as many as Jimbo, but I'd have a lot of dollars.
Should have took him to the league with him. Maybe that
instead of Lane at like 33 years old.
Maybe that would have helped out a little bit. All right. Again, if you missed at the beginning of the show, Jake Peetz is the new offensive coordinator for LSU, and DJ Mangus, the former LSU staffer, is rejoined as the passing game coordinator. So just to give you a little background on the two of those guys, Peetz has spent the last 2 years with Carolina. He coached the running backs in 2019. He coached quarterbacks last year. Do you give him credit for Christian McCaffrey? I mean, he coached the running backs in 19. McCaffrey had, 2,500 yards total, I think it was, or right under 2,500 yards
he was a
in
coach.
total. Yeah, he was there. In 2020, Peetz helped Carolina produce 4 players with over 1,000 scrimmage yards in a season. It's only the 5th team to do that. He's been with the Raiders for 3 years. He was with Washington for a year. He was with Jacksonville for a year, with Alabama, 2 separate stints. He also coached at UCLA for a year. He coached 2 seasons in Oakland, where he was the assistant quarterbacks coach. Derek Carr made the Pro Bowl in 2 of the 3 years he was there. We giving him any credit for that?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, Derek Carr has kind of been up and down in his professional career. So, you can point to, hey, when he was there, he had success, had one of his better years. I think you can definitely, give credit where credit is due for that. Now, Christian McCaffrey, I don't know. Christian McCaffrey seemed like he was set up for success. But a player like Derek Carr has had some ebbs and flows. Yeah, for sure.
The year he was with Washington, Deshaun Jackson led the NFL at 21 yards per reception. He was coaching the wide receivers, assistant wide receivers coach that year. And he played his college ball at Nebraska. He was actually a defensive back. That's a little bit unusual for a defensive player in college to swap sides of the ball and be on the other side. Not unheard of.
Not unheard of,
but
yeah.
a little unusual.
It happens more than you would think. When you start doing some deep dives into coordinators at the college level, it's like, wait a minute, this guy played a linebacker and he's calling plays, and vice versa as well.
So for Mangus, he was the second youngest offensive coordinator in D1 back in 2017 and 2018. He was at William & Mary those 2 years. He's been a couple other places, but he was a former player at William and Mary. And he was at LSU in 2019 and left for Carolina a year ago. So he worked with Joe Brady when he was here. And, of course, that team set all kind of records that I don't have time to list. So that's a little bit of a thumbnail on both of the guys at LSU have hired.
It's the guys they wanted. They called Joe Brady. Hey, give us the guys. Who knows your offense inside and out? And obviously when you start talking about Peetz, he's been around. I mean, you're talking about 10 years of NFL experience. I mean, as soon as he got done playing, transitioned right into the coaching world. So he's got his own resume. But DJ Mangus, like I can't say it enough, like that this is Joe Brady's right-hand man. Like these two know each other as well as anyone. So he gets, the full recommendation of Joe Brady. I like it. I said it 10 days ago. I'll say it again. I think this brings something, back to the LSU offense.
Can I ask a question? Just devil's
Why
advocate.
is he not going to bring him wherever he's going?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because when Joe gets a head coaching job, and you don't interview for 3 unless you're going to get one eventually, even if it's not this year, he's calling his own play still. Without a doubt, he's going to call his own plays. It's going to be his offense. He's going to be the guy. So you're going to be an offensive coordinator in name only, literally in name only. Norv called our plays in San Diego, and Clarence Shellman, shout out to Bossier City, 318-301 great. He was our offensive coordinator. Now, Clarence Shellman knew football, but not one play did he call. Not one piece of game planning did he put in. It was all Norv and Norv's offense. So Joe's going to call it on. So maybe, DJ's like, you know what, I'd really like to have a say-so in some play-calling duties.
Do we think Mangus is going to call plays here, or do we think Peetz is going to call plays here?
Your passing game coordinator, he's going to have input in the game plan without a doubt. So I think he's going to have some big responsibilities here. That could be part of it. That's something else. And, Joe Brady could be like, hey, this is your opportunity. You've been in the pros for this year. Which do you like better? Oh, you like being in college better? Hey, go back to LSU. If you want to be a college head coach, go back to LSU. Go get back in the college game. I mean, like I said, this is his friend. It's not just his colleague. This is his friend. And so, they could have had that conversation very easily. Hey, no, I'm going to be a college guy. Well, hey, go be back at LSU. You'll rise up the charts pretty fast there.
So Jake Peetz and DJ Mangus, the newest members of the LSU staff. We'll take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny is brought to you by Richard Honda, home of the warm, fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you by Richard Honda every single day, the title sponsor of our show here, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. You can find them online at richardhonda.com. There on the site, you can always have a chat with sales. They're always available. You can buy from home. That's right. They buy from home. 7-step option right there. Very simple. Fill out a little bit of information. You choose your vehicle. You choose the features that you want. You get the pricing just right. You start to compare some of the vehicles you've put together. And at the end of the 7-step process, they deliver the vehicle straight to you. We always encourage you as well, though. Go see them at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. With over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot, you're going to find something that you absolutely love. And no matter what it is, car, hybrid, midsize, full-size SUV, van, or truck, they've got something to fit your lifestyle over at Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench, a rescheduled Booger McFarland talks NFL and how he feels about his precious Buccaneers. Plus, Executive Chef Michael Johnson answers all of your Munchies questions. We recap LSU, Georgia, and Pelicans Thunder. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. So LSU has put the first two pieces of the puzzle together. We could be doing this show tomorrow with the defensive coordinator. I don't know that it'll get done maybe at the beginning of the show, but if Marcus Freeman comes in tomorrow and has the type of interview that we're expecting him to have, and they have, well, let's face it, they've already done a lot of the legwork. That LSU has done their vetting on him. They're very comfortable bringing him in. Ed Orgeron was very comfortable, without speaking his actual name earlier in the week, identifying him as the top candidate.
Yeah.
And Freeman has agreed to come down here and do an in-person interview. I believe his wife is coming with him, so that's a good sign.
Oh, happy wife, happy life. Now,
yeah. I mean, that's a big deal.
Because this is someone who's from Ohio, played college football in Ohio, now coaches in Ohio. So it does take a lot.
Is there a chance that he's never set foot on the LSU campus?
Oh,
probably, right?
The only time he's probably been in Louisiana was to play in the national championship game.
Yeah, which is 70 miles down the road.
I mean, the only time I've been in Ohio was to play the Browns.
You ever been on the Ohio State campus?
I guess I've been to the Hall of Fame, too. No, I'm not.
No.
So you've got to do some convincing. Yeah, I mean, you have to make it, hey, here's why you uproot your family, move them down basically across the country from Ohio down to LSU is because of this. And you've got to lay it out because you have to convince him and his family and everyone to make that move because they have the comfort of being in Ohio where they've always been.
You have to drive them in from the airport and, hey, you see us living here? Yeah, I could see us living here. Or no, I couldn't see us living here. You ever hear that story about when they brought Drew Brees in for his free agent visit with the Saints? This is 4 months post Katrina, and Sean Payton says, I got to make sure we don't drive him past any of the really bad destruction, like there was a way that you could avoid it. And then, of course, Payton had been there for all of 2 weeks. He got lost. So they go into the absolute worst of the destroyed areas of Katrina, which there were plenty, obviously. So you get that done. Hopefully they get that done tomorrow, Friday on the outside, and then you can go into the weekend. Maybe you can finalize some staff things, and if you can start with a full deck on Monday, then you can go into the fourth quarter program feeling that things are pretty settled.
Oh, Hanny. I mean, Coach O said it. He wanted this done when the team came back on Monday, and he said that might be wishful thinking, but he's got 2 of the 3 taken care of right now. And this was going to be a little bit more of a hurdle because we know there's other teams. We know he wants to be a head coach. We know that, right? And this is going to be a little bit more of a hurdle. DJ's been here before. When you take a look at where LSU finished the season, though, to answer your question, and where they can be the first day of the offseason program, let's take a look at when you're 3-5. You're going to Florida, right? And the feeling we had there. Now let's fast forward and look at 5-5. Again, not the standard, but you finish the season strong. You get a lot of your guys to come back. Some that we thought really, Ed Ingram, I thought there was no chance. I'll be honest with you. Didn't think there was any chance he'd come back. He's coming back, and some of his buddies too. All right. You've got all this young talent that played really well in the last 2 games. You go get your top 3 targets to fill your coordinator positions. That's a lot of heat going into the offseason, and one that I didn't think you could stir up when you were 3-5 heading to Gainesville.
The perfect scenario is they get Freeman tomorrow. They get Rosenthal sometime between now and Sunday to come back. You can hope for Deculus. I don't think that's going to happen. But if it did, great. But you get Rosenthal back between. That's as close to sweeping the board as you can do. I mean, they didn't get everybody, but they got an awful lot. If Freeman has gotten this far with them, I got to believe that they've gotten to the point where they've discussed the role, they've discussed schematically, the philosophies and things like that. They're on the same page. The parameters for money, I think, have probably already been done. This is hey, let's put everybody in the same room and make sure you guys don't hate each other's guts kind of thing. Is that? Yeah. I've never been in one of these meetings. One of these a coaching interview. Okay, I don't know exactly what goes on in one of these things, but
I'm sure it's like anything like a free agent visit. That's the only thing I can compare it to. And they roll out the red carpet. You go out to eat with some of the personalities. You see if it's
we'll give them some good food now. That ain't no problem.
You show them the walk-through room that you have at the facility for the defense, and look what you can do here. And hey, look, hey, here's what you have coming back. You got some guys coming back now. Yeah, absolutely. You roll out everything because you're trying to convince them this is your top target. It's who you want. When I went on a free agent visit to Seattle, John Schneider, me, Flynn, and Pete Carroll went to dinner. Dan Morgan, remember him, played at Miami? He was a scout for them. And we went to dinner, and we were chopping it up, see how the personalities gelled, okay? And that's something you have to do too, because you're going to be in tight quarters with this person for a long time, and you don't want to rush that decision.
If you get this far, generally, you got a pretty good shot. That's kind of the way I feel about it right now, that if they've gotten this far down the line, unless things go really sideways, they're in pretty good shape there. So if you can do that, take the rest of the weekend, fill out the rest. And if you're still down one position, coach, at the end of the weekend, that's not the end of the world. But you put yourself in a position to start the off-season program. You get some of the new kids in. Everybody went home. Everybody got their batteries recharged. I know even around here, after the break, people started, hey, look, okay, it's back. New year, let's go. You can start with a good feeling about where you're headed. So we'll see if that goes down here in the next 24 to 48 hours as we move towards the weekend. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Ask Us is next. We'll do that when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air, an independent dealer of the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning Systems. I got one of these in my house. It was a fantastic day when they put it in. It was an even better day. Every day that energy bill comes in every single month, because I know when I open it up, I know what I used to pay, I know what I pay now, and I know that it's less. Comfortable inside my home. It's not like I'm making any compromises. I've just gotten a unit that is running at a more efficient rate, and I'm able to program it. So how many times have you gotten in the vehicle, gotten halfway to work, forgot to adjust my thermostat? It means that something's running all day that doesn't need to be running. Hey, on those days where I want to change the program, we're talking about the temperatures dropping later this week, I can always change it from my cell phone.
You can hear from their customers. Go to tiger-air.com, look at the testimonials. Harry, who's been with Tiger Air since 2008. Robbie, who has been with them more than 20 years. Melody, over 30 years of service from Tiger Air, right? And you can look at Andrews. Tiger Air provided a consistent level of high-quality service and upgrades to my home for more than a decade. So as you can tell, this isn't just something they just recently picked up. They've been doing it for decades upon decades over at Tiger Air. You're going to get the best service, and you're going to save money. To find out more information, go to tiger-air.com or call 225-754-8687.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. There's a newest member of the Heisman fraternity, and the Saints are back on the practice field getting ready for the Wildcard game against the Bears. Join us, 104.5 ESPN's Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Ask Us is brought to you by Coors Light. Or as my friend here says, Coors Light. Cool, crisp, refreshing. Coors Light. Get it in the slim cans available right now. It's going to be a big, big football weekend if you're an NFL fan. So get your Coors Light. Get your Blue Moon Light Sky Citrus Sweet. Or what you got in your hand right there, man? What you got?
I've got me the Vizzy Hard Seltzer. We've got the Coors Light. We've got the Blue Moon Light Sky. We've got everything here on the desk, and you know what? It's about time for a drink.
It's six games. All right, 6 games this weekend. So you can pick one up for the game tonight. You got LSU and Georgia. You watch a little college basketball at 6 o'clock tonight. Coors Light, the official beer of Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Coors Light,
yep. You ready? So my attire is getting some questions in the
some swag
in the Bayou Fort.
Last couple days, you had the jacket on yesterday.
All right, so there's is Hanny wearing his jacket tomorrow? And then where did I get this this hoodie? I might wear the jacket tomorrow. I got the first thing is I'll tell you how I dress for this show. Is the first thing after 7 months in here, it has become about warmth, and so. We had a great little partnership with Haspel during the holiday, and they hooked us up with some really, really nice things. And I've got probably half a dozen sports jackets now. A couple that I got from them, and a couple that a few that I'd had before. So I can put a sports jacket on to come to work if I want. And some days I do, and some days I don't. This I got from Bengals and Bandits. I just liked it. It's one of the old throwbacks. It's probably my second favorite. The only one I like better than this is the Tiger coming out of Tiger Stadium. This one's over the big block LSU. If you're listening on the radio and can't see, the one of him Mike stepping out of Tiger Stadium remains my favorite. That's one of the older logos for LSU. So I saw this at Bengals and Bandits.
It's a great sweatshirt.
I'm not plugging them because they.
No, I will. They help out my foundation all the time, so I'll plug them.
I just bought it there.
The only one that I don't like, the LSU logo, is the Toonsis. Like, that thing can go as far away from Baton Rouge,
and he's pretty much been retired.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, there you don't see very much of him.
That was like really during my time at LSU. That's what we had to deal with.
Also, like the Tiger with the little coolie hat.
Sailor Mike.
Yeah. Sailor Mike is good. That's another.
I like that they went back to the old Tiger logo. They filled it in a little bit more, just the Tiger head. Like, just give me the Tiger. I really don't. I don't like stuff that just has LSU. Like, give me the Tiger.
And I'm okay, with that. Also, like, you've got a hat where it's the Mike the Tiger dunking the basketball for LSU hoops.
Duncan Mike, yeah.
I like Duncan Mike as well. So whatever, it starts with how warm can I be in here? Ask us, can I be on the show? You know what? You have to put in an application, I think, with it's Cade's department, right? Yeah, call Cade on that. Ask us, could Cincinnati commits flip to LSU if they get Marcus Freeman? I don't think there's any player that fits into that category that I know of.
Yeah, this isn't disrespectful to Cincinnati, but you're recruiting someone different and in a different footprint.
I'm sure whoever the top player in Cincinnati's class was, it'd be great. But no, there's nobody that we.
That's how Matt Mock, I guess, did kind of end up here.
Well, he took the baseball route first, though.
Right, but it was his connection with Saban.
Okay, yeah, sure. I would say it's a little late in the ball game, but
I'm looking. Full disclosure, I did not know Cincinnati's draft their signees front to back. It had to look it up.
I still don't know.
They did finish first in the AAC, so
it's a good program.
They've got their highest rated player is a 3-star prospect out of
an offensive lineman,
Miami. He's an athlete. Yeah, I've got a couple of those. So,
ask Jake. You mentioned earlier about players who talked during game. Who talked the most when you played?
Terrell.
You want to think about it for a second?
Terrell Suggs, followed by
Terrell Suggs is going to Hall of Fame. He can talk.
Ray Lewis talked a lot.
He's already in the Hall of Fame. He can talk.
Let's see.
Anybody that didn't play for Baltimore?
I mean, they got the Steelers, Lamar Woodley. Lamar Woodley was a talker for sure. Let's see. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Aqib Talib was a definite talker.
Okay. Let's see. Ask us, do you believe in the A-Meat Barbershop?
There's a connection there.
There's a guy over there. Yeah, he's running them back and forth to Alabama. So ask us when we get some college baseball talk. I'm thinking that when I get back from my layoff with the surgery, that we'll be just a couple of weeks out. By that time, they'll have practiced for a few weeks, and we'll send Hunt out there to go look at a scrimmage or two.
Well, yeah.
We'll probably get into that.
We won't exactly have to pull his pull his arm to get him out there.
You know, while we were gone, probably one of the biggest pieces of news that dropped was on about college baseball was Paul Maneri on the show with Skip and Cano saying that the league is, it's not done yet, but they're pretty close to going to 4-game SEC series.
Yep.
That changes the dynamic.
It does.
Whew, that'd be interesting.
Better have some pitchers.
Let's see. Ask us, do you think they'll allow fans at LSU baseball games and how many? This is a great question. I do think they'll let fans in at the LSU baseball games. My thought is, and this is my opinion only, nobody has told me this, I haven't even asked, is that they'll start small but grow. And you say, well, yeah, but they started small in football and they were like, well, if we can grow, we'll grow. And they never grew. And they're starting small in basketball and they said, well, if we can grow, we'll grow. And I doubt very seriously that number will grow. Baseball, I don't think that. Because for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's outside. Yeah. And I think I know football was outside, but this goes in with the second part of it, which is we are beginning distribution of the vaccine. By the time we get to the end of college baseball season, by the time we get to May, by the time we get to a regional in June, I'm hoping that the vaccine is spread wide enough that we will be allowing bigger crowds. I'm not telling you that they're going to be 10,000 at the box, but do I think that the number will be different from the end of baseball season and the beginning of baseball season? Yeah. Didn't happen in football. Doubt it happens in basketball. Think there's a good chance that it happens in baseball.
I'm hoping so.
Very much
Love
so.
to go out to the box, take the family, sit out there, and enjoy some baseball.
Ask us, National Bean Day, refried black or pinto
Ooh,
beans?
I like this. Refried black.
Refried for me.
No, I don't.
No?
They're okay.
Then
pinto,
black or pinto?
Pinto beans for me, that was a staple in our house. My parents used to make, and I've told you, we called it prison food. Pinto beans, white rice, and ground beef mixed together, and it was fantastic. I'll be honest with you.
Ask us, LSU -8 tonight, Pelicans -5. Georgia's built up a record against a pretty suspect schedule. 8's a lot. I don't know. I'd probably lay off that. Pelicans -5 looks like a pretty good bet. They got to be seething from blowing that lead the other night against Indiana. And when they played them in OKC a week and a half ago, they won, I think it was 113-80. It was either 23 or 30. They completely blew them out. So if I had to pick one of the two, I'd say Pelicans -5 as the.
I agree with you
as
there.
the one.
Yeah.
Okay. Ask us what's your favorite alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink.
I think y'all know my favorite.
Wow, you get a Coors Light over here.
There's a reason why us and Coors partner together.
Yeah.
Non-alcoholic. I love tea, but man, I can go to the restroom too much when I drink tea. Coffee. Does that count? I mean, I drink like 7 cups a day.
See, and I'm a 1 cup of coffee a day guy. I have a cup of coffee when I get up in the morning, and that's it. These Powerade Zeros, I probably go through.
You do. That's
a
bring
ton.
It in every day.
I go through one of these during the show a day, and I'll probably hydrate with at least 1 or 2 more of these during the course of the day.
I don't drink water either. Like, I'm out on that.
When you talk as much as I do, and as much as you do, you like to stay hydrated. Those work for me.
Oh,
ask us any timeline on when a schedule will be released for LSU baseball. No, I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew. Maneri was on last week. He said that they are closing in on that, but he didn't really give it time to. Yeah, we don't have a heck of a lot of time
on the season
left. Let's see. Ask us, do you have a protocol for when urgent national news is breaking 911 type? So we're aware of what is going on at the Capitol right now. We're not shut off from the world. Days like today are difficult. I'll be honest, because there's a very significant thing going on right now at the Capitol. We are charged with doing a sports show, and as news warrants, we have to make decisions on whether or not to break in and break format.
Yeah.
And I'll give you 2 examples of it. We broke in and completely turned our programming to news on 9/11. All right, we shut down sports for a week. All right, it was that big of an event. If there is a hurricane coming that is bearing down, at times we have turned our sports station or Eagle into into pretty much round-the-clock coverage of an impending hurricane. We didn't break in today. What's going on at the Capitol is significant, but we have news stations to cover that. Okay, Talk 107.3 is news round the clock, so we feel like we've got that covered, and we give an outlet for our listeners that don't want to listen to that story, that would rather just do sports and be distracted from it, which is fine. There are events that rise to a level that we will shut everything down and just do that. And I just gave you 2 examples. Today doesn't get there, and I pray to God that it doesn't in the next 24 hours. Ask us, where would you spend all your time if you could?
Where would I spend?
I don't know that there's anywhere that I want to spend all of my time.
No, I'm too ADD. Like I
because
move
my first thought
around
would be home.
too
Okay,
much. It's hard for me to sit here for 3 hours without moving.
My first thought would be to say I'd spend it all at home, but as somebody who was cooped up for a week and quarantined, I can tell you that after you stay home for too long, you want to get out. So I don't know that there's anywhere I'd want to spend all my time.
No, I can't stay still. I mean, I'm always moving. When I used to watch film of myself, my coach would give me a hard time because I would just walk back and forth between the offense and defense, like if I was not in the play. Like I hate sitting still. That's why I can't imagine what Paul O'Neill goes through sitting in this chair, the same chair, for 6 straight hours every single day.
It's a
in the meat locker.
It's a long day. Ask us, what is Russ Callaway's role? We talked about it in the first segment.
No,
we're
somewhere.
Not,
I mean, Coach O said he's going to be a full-time coach. Just don't know where.
We're not exactly sure yet. So it'll be one of the things that we monitor. Thanks to everybody for participating today. For Paul O'Neill, for Josh Ward, for Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built